Global disaster. I have countless black technologies. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Expansion of the Underground Garage. That's right. It's time for the underground garage to be expanded. Otherwise, if you keep putting the nuclear battery heavy-duty truck on the ground, I am afraid that it will not be long before it will be buried in the snow. Because nuclear-powered heavy-duty trucks are too huge, the existing underground garage simply cannot fit it. Therefore, Li Hao is placed directly in the yard on the ground. Thinking of this, after setting the Super 3D printer bed to automatically produce a new version of the radiation protection life support suit, Li Hao put on the new version of the radiation protection life support suit and walked quickly towards the outside of the shelter. On the ground, the sky is obscured by dark clouds and there's no sunlight in sight. Snowflakes are still falling like a downpour. There was a chill in the air. However, after wearing the new version of the radiation protection life support suit, Li Hao did not feel anything. The temperature inside the protective suit has been maintained at 26 degrees, which is not affected by external factors at all. The expansion of the underground garage has to be done faster. Coming to the place where the nuclear battery heavy-duty truck was parked before, Li Hao shook his head slightly as he looked at the heavy-duty truck that was slowly covered in snow and only a silhouette remained. In a few days, the nuclear-powered heavy-duty truck in front of you will turn into a small snowy mountain. At that time, it will not be easy to dig it out of the thick snow. Come to think of it, Li Hao's mood to expand the underground garage has become even more urgent. Return to the underground shelter. Li Hao takes out a small automated excavator used to dig underground shelters before the end of the day from the tool warehouse. The excavation efficiency of this black technology prop is extremely high. It was used to expand the underground garage, which simply served perfectly. Save time and effort. In order to save trouble, Li Hao decided to expand the surface of the underground garage to 1,500 square meters at one time, with a height of more than 4 meters. This area is enough to accommodate hundreds of vehicles, and the height is also high enough to accommodate big guys like heavy-duty trucks. Confirming the requirements for this expansion, Li Hao spent another 100 points to customize a construction drawing of the underground garage at the system. Then, against the drawings, start drawing. A small automated excavator expands the underground space, while Li Hao takes clone warriors to carry cement and steel stored in the underground garage to reinforce the newly expanded underground space. After the initial reinforcement was completed, the support columns were poured according to the construction drawings, as well as the induction lights and garage door were arranged. Finally, use the black technology bought in the mall, summon dryer to quickly dry and harden all cement. After such a busy call, the originally narrow underground garage has been transformed into a new one, and the area has expanded by nearly 10 times. The overall color has also changed from gray to black, which looks much thicker and stronger than before. The garage door has changed from a large iron door to a heavy and hard memory alloy door, and an intelligent control system is added to access the console database of the underground shelter, which can identify the faces and fingerprints of people who have permission to enter the garage. Such a large underground garage should be enough for a long time in the future. It is possible to drive a nuclear battery heavy-duty truck out of the yard on the ground. Li Hao smiled with satisfaction and asked no one to drive the heavy-duty truck to the underground car quarry. He then went back to the underground shelter to wash and eat, ready to rest. It's so busy that it's 10. It's almost time to go to bed. December 26, 2020. It's getting colder. Today's temperature is 10 degrees lower than yesterday. However, Li Hao, who was hiding in a shelter, still maintains his original rhythm of life, almost unaffected by the increasingly cold weather, leisurely eating braised noodles while on the net. But with the arrival of the super cold snap, the network signal is getting worse and worse. Now it has dropped to tens of kits per second. But fortunately, it can be used in the end, and it has not been completely broken. While communicating with other netizens, Li Hao thought about all the big flaws of his refuge that needed to be solved. Thinking of danger in times of peace is an immutable truth. In terms of energy, the shelter is fully self-sufficient with man-made oil manufacturing technology and small high-energy petroleum power generation base stations. Even if the power consumption of the shelter is 100 times higher, it will not be used up. In terms of water sources, Shanghai City is very rich in groundwater resources, and it has not yet been polluted, so there's no shortage of pure water resources in underground shelters. When it comes to food, not to mention the food pantry of the shelter also stores more than 3,000 pounds of food. In addition, the vegetable planting room he opened up is also approaching maturity. No matter what, there will be no shortage of food in the shelter. After thinking about it, Li Hao nodded in satisfaction. It seems that his own shelter is still developing well. As long as there are no problems in these aspects, the shelter is as stable as Mount Tarzan. As for the minor problems in other aspects, it is enough to slowly check and fill in the gaps at that time. Thinking like this, Li Hao stopped thinking about it and continued to chat and forth with others on official forums. However, right now, the backstage of his official forum suddenly hit a prompt. Li Hao clicked in and found that someone had initiated a trading chat with him through his post asking for chicken and duck seedlings. Could it be that this person has chicken and duck seedlings in his hand ready to strike? With the hope of completing the task, Li Hao quickly clicked into this chat message. Chapter 27 Trading Chickens and Ducks Using Waste. Li Hao discovered that this chat message was sent by a person with the online name Li Hao. Looking at this screen name, it seems to be a woman. However, in recent years, people and dogs on the internet can't be distinguished, and trying to rely on a screen name to confirm the gender of the other party is simply a dream. And Li Hao didn't care about the gender of the man at all. Anyway, there is no half-dime relationship with him. What he wants to know most now is whether this person has chicken and duck seedlings in his hands. This is at stake in the fulfillment of his system tasks. Click on the chat interface. Li Hao. Hello, do you still want to buy chicken and duck seedlings? I want to trade something with you if needed. Li Hao. Are you there? This is a picture of my farmed chicken and duck seedlings. I'm not a liar. The picture JPG. After clicking on the picture and slowly loading it, Li Hao sees hundreds of chicks and ducklings eating feed, with an underground farm in the background. It doesn't look like a picture found online. Li Hao's eyes lit up. After confirming that this person was most likely not a liar, Li Hao immediately began to reply. Li Hao. I do need chicken and duck seedlings now. Don't know what you need to trade. And where is your refuge? If it's too far from Shanghai City, I won't be able to trade with you in the past. Not long after the news was sent, this flower fogger replied. Li Hao. My refuge is on the outskirts of the North District of Shanghai City. I need a diesel generator. I want to exchange these chickens and ducklings for diesel generators and a lot of diesel. The area where his current refuge is located is on the outskirts of the Eastern District of Shanghai City. Although the outskirts of the Northern District are a bit far from here, it is still acceptable. Li Hao. You don't have electricity there anymore. Li Hao. The official power supply plant on the outskirts of the Northern District was destroyed by meteorites a long time ago. The diesel generator I bought also had a problem recently. Do you have an extra diesel generator and diesel there? I have a lot of chicken and duck seedlings to exchange with you. Li Hao. Yes, and each one is quite powerful. But how do you want to change? How many chickens and ducks for a diesel generator? Li Hao. How about changing 50 chicken and duck seedlings for one? Li Hao. No. There are too few, and these chicken and duck seedlings still have to be raised by me to consume food to eat. After some haggling, Li Hao finally reached a consensus with the person with the screen name Li Hao to exchange one diesel generator for 100 chicken and duck seedlings in exchange for 5 diesel generators. However, Li Hao will give an additional 500 pounds of diesel. Faced with this result, Li Hao was also very satisfied. With man-made oil manufacturing technology and small high-energy petroleum power generation base stations, diesel and diesel generators were completely eliminated by him and thrown into the warehouse covered to eat ashes. Now that he can recycle and sell these eliminated supplies at such a high price, he will naturally not be dissatisfied. Li Hao. Then it's settled. But how to trade? Do you come to me, or do I go to you? Seeing this message, Li Hao, who did not want to expose his shelter, immediately replied, I'll go find you. Now that the climate is so harsh, without specially modified trucks, you can't come with 500 chickens and ducks, right? Li Hao. It's 2. Then I'll give you the address of the shelter where I'm in, and you can drive over to me. Without much suspicion or vigilance, Li Hao directly sent the location information of his shelter to Li Hao. Looking at this specific address, Li Hao touched his chin and nodded. Although the distance is a bit long, it is still acceptable in order to complete the system task. Agreeing for tomorrow's trading time, Li Hao also ended this chat. December 27, 2020 early morning. After eating breakfast with Shazuki's 3 daughters, Li Hao is ready to leave. Perhaps it was a continuous blizzard, which caused the water vapor in the sky to decrease rapidly, and today the snowfall on the surface seems to be much smaller, and the visibility has improved a lot. It is no longer as difficult to see even 3 meters away as before. Stepping out of the underground shelter and into the underground garage, Li Hao asked No. 1 to take a few clones to move 5 diesel generators and 500 pounds of diesel fuel to a nuclear battery heavy-duty truck. After carrying all the trading goods into the car, The nuclear battery heavy-duty truck started, slowly drove out of the underground garage, and drove towards Bian Road on the outskirts of Shanghai City's North District. The suburbs of Shanghai City are divided into 4 districts: Southeast, Southwest and Northwest. Although these 4 districts belong to the same city, they are really far from each other. Even if the road is clear, it will take at least an hour to get to the adjacent suburban area. In today's increasingly challenging environment, it will obviously take longer. According to Li Hao's estimates, it will take at least 3 hours to travel from the outskirts of the Eastern District to Bian Road on the outskirts of the Northern District. This is still the case of taking the highway outside the city. It took about 15 minutes. The nuclear battery heavy-duty truck, driven by No. 1, entered the highway intersection outside the city. At this time, there was no longer a prosperous scene of peacetime. Not even a car can be found. It was as if human civilization had disappeared for thousands of years. It is hard to imagine that a few months ago, the traffic here was non-stop, day and night. Seeing this doomsday scene of civilization withering, Li Hao also sighed silently in his heart. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelas. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28: Man-Made Car Accident. Chaos and Ambition. About half an hour later, No. 1, who was responsible for driving the nuclear electromagnetic heavy-duty truck, suddenly stopped the car. "What's wrong?" Li Hao, who was looking down and holding his mobile phone to read the news, asked with some doubt. "Boss, the road ahead is completely blocked." Number 1 replied. Looking up, Li Hao noticed that there were many abandoned vehicles ahead, blocking the intersection ahead. It seems that there was a rather large car accident on this section of the road. What's going on? This highway is currently the only road that can lead to other cities, and the transportation of materials should also pass through this road, and now the road is blocked, and the officials have not organized manual cleanups. Li Hao frowned. It seems that the official shelter of Shanghai City, which has suffered heavy losses due to meteorite fragments, has been a little unable to take care of this road. These abandoned vehicles have traces of modification, and this major car accident should have occurred after a global catastrophe. The drastic decline in the official power of Shanghai City also represents the rapid weakening of the power voter in this area, and I am afraid that Shanghai City and the surrounding areas will not be calm in the future. Li Hao's heart froze. Without the suppression and supervision of official forces, Shanghai City and the surrounding areas may become more and more chaotic in the future. Those whose ambitions are suppressed in peacetime will definitely not miss this opportunity, develop their forces, and become bosses themselves. Perhaps, the car accident in front of you is also the handiwork of those people. Thinking like this, Li Hao was also quite vigilant in his heart, and called 3 clone warriors to get out of the car together and go to the front to investigate the situation. Walk up to these abandoned cars. According to the analysis of the expertise of those clone warriors, this big car accident definitely did not take more than 10 days. It was also a series of collisions. Nearly 20 cars collided one after another, and many bodies that were killed and burned were in these abandoned cars. You can imagine how tragic the situation was at that time. "Boss, this car accident should be man-made. All the useful things in the car have been looted, and the owners of the first and second cars in front seem to have been shot and killed while driving. It was the death of the owner of the vehicle at the front that caused the vehicle to lose control, which led to this big car accident." After some probing, No. 1 pointed to the corpses in the front vehicle and deduced. Li Hao looked past, and it was several bodies in the front vehicle had bullet holes in their heads, apparently killed by sudden bullets while driving. It can be seen that the killer is definitely not a person, but a team. Otherwise, one gun would not have been able to shoot 4 people so quickly and accurately. Artificial. Li Hao took a deep breath and looked around. However, nothing moved. Obviously, with the super cold snap, those who blocked the way to kill and rob should have left here a long time ago. It seems that the next step is to be vigilant. The suburbs of the North District of Shanghai City seems to be much more chaotic than the Eastern District, and even this kind of gang that blocks the high-speed intersection to rob and kill people. But Li Hao has no intention of backing down. With the protection of 3 heavily armed clone warriors, even if he encounters a surprise attack by dozens of armed thugs, he has the confidence to retreat with his whole body. After all, the terrorist defense superimposed by the new version of radiation protection life support suits and special body armor is not covered. Normal small pistols came over, and they couldn't even break the defense. Take 3 clone warriors to clean up the abandoned vehicles and corpses to the side of the road. Subsequently, The nuclear battery heavy-duty truck started again, drove onto the intersection highway, and entered the suburbs of the North District of Shanghai City. On the urban roads, occasionally some people wearing cotton jackets and radiation protection suits can be seen, shivering in the wind and snow for possible food and supplies in the ruins. Seeing a large truck like a giant beast coming from the highway intersection, these people were also surprised. However, no one dared to intercept it. After all, people walking in such a big truck don't look like they can afford to mess with it. All the way is smooth. Li Hao quickly reached his destination. Beyond road, Green Tree Community. Although this community is located on the outskirts of the city, the environmental facilities are still good. Community parks, lakes, basketball courts are all available. It is a mid-range community. However, the community does not seem to have jointly engaged in collective shelters, and seems to be in its own hands. There wasn't even a security guard at the door. However, the heavy-duty trucks with nuclear batteries are too large to seem to enter the gate of the community. Seeing this, Li Hao himself was too lazy to bother and directly logged into the forum with his mobile phone and began to contact Li Hao to come out to trade. Li Hao, I have arrived at the door of your community as agreed. A minute later. Li Hao, okay. I'll come right over. Chapter 29 Bandit Organization Geelong Club. More than a minute later. A van with obvious modifications slowly drove out of the Green Tree complex and stopped not far in front of the Li Hao nuclear battery heavy-duty truck. Then, a figure wearing a black-gray radiation protection suit stepped down from the car and walked towards Li Hao. Seeing this, knowing that this should be the flowing flower fog moon, Li Hao also got out of the car and prepared to meet and trade with the other party. Hello? My name is Zuki Anya, that is, the Li Hao who contacted you before. A royal sister voice came. Hearing this, Li Hao couldn't help but be stunned. Take a look. Li Hao was surprised to find that this internet celebrity who is really a woman, and she is still a rather temperamental long-haired royal sister. Hello? My name is Li Hao. Coming to his senses, Li Hao shook hands and introduced himself. After confirming each other's identities, the two did not talk nonsense and began the agreed transaction. Mr. Li, it's really troublesome for you to send diesel generators all the way over. My 500 chickens and ducks are ready. 350 chickens and 150 ducks. Can I start trading? It's okay. A trifle. 500 chickens and duck seedlings I really need. Li Hao nodded and asked no. One and the others to move all 5 diesel generators and 500 pounds of diesel fuel from the big truck. He specially treated these things with radiation protection. Short exposure to radiation is not a problem. Seeing that Li Hao took out the diesel generator and diesel fuel he urgently needed as promised, Zuki Anya also quite cheerfully handed over the 500 chicken and duck seedlings to Li Hao. These chicken and duck seedlings are all enclosed in a large carton, and there is an anti-radiation coating on the outside to prevent radiation from causing damage to the chicken and duck seedlings in the carton. The whole trading process was very pleasant. While Li Hao was busy counting the chicken and duck seedlings. Suddenly. At this moment, several people in the Green Tree community walked straight towards Li Hao and the others, and yelled, "Who allowed you to trade?" It seems that these people are also residents of the Green Tree community. Saying that, these people surrounded Li Hao and Zuki Anya. Zhu Feng, what do you want to do? I trade my own stuff with others. What does it have to do with you? Do I still need your consent? Zuki Anya said with a hint of anger on her face. Your stuff. Now the entire Green Tree community is the territory of our Dragon Society, everything in it is ours, and these chicken and duck seedlings are also raised in the Green Tree community. Of course, they are also ours. Used our Dragon Society's things to trade with others without consent, you say I don't care. Faced with Zuki Anya's questioning, Zhu Feng said with a natural look. The tone was full of smugness. So, I'm also a thing of your Dragon Society. Zuki Anya's face turned blue with anger. Of course. Saying that, when Zhu Feng looked at Zuki Anya's bumpy figure, a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. Get out. Hearing such shameless words, Zuki Anya was also almost angry and lost her mind. Watch this scene. Listening to the conversation between the two, Li Hao almost figured out what was going on. Those chicken and duck seedlings are indeed Zuki Anya's. To put it simply, some residents of this Green Tree community have formed a Dragon Club organization, wanting to turn the entire Green Tree community into their own territory and become the emperor of the soil. And other community residents, including Zuki Anya, obviously could not agree with this matter. Zhu Feng and these people came to take the opportunity to find fault. Sure enough, without the suppression of official forces, these cows, ghosts, snakes and gods can't help but come out. Li Hao was also a little speechless. Previously, he reasoned on the highway that Shanghai City and the surrounding area would become more and more chaotic in the future. As a result, a ready-made example is now encountered. Dragon Society. It seems that it is a bandit organization run by a person who wants to become the emperor of the soil by force. While Li Hao was speechless, the dispute continued. Let me roll. However, these things that belong to our dragon society must all be taken back. Zhu Feng sneered and spoke. You. Faced with such a scoundrel, Zhu Qianyu was suddenly so angry that she couldn't speak. Seeing this, Li Hao also noticed that these people obviously wanted to force Zhu Qianyu to submit and obediently obey the rule of the shit dragon society. HNPH. You guys took all those chickens and ducks back, the 5 diesel generators were all taken away, and this big truck was also driven back for me. Seeing that Zhu Qianyu couldn't say anything at all, Zhu Feng smiled even happier. With a wave of his hand, the few people behind him walked over, wanting to drive the big truck away directly. Seeing this scene, Li Hao's face also became gloomy, blocked in front of those people, and spoke. These things are mine. You guys want to rob? What is mine? As long as it is around the green tree community, everything belongs to our dragon society. I advise you to get acquainted with each other, don't lose your life in vain. Zhu Feng looked at Li Hao with a high spirit, and spoke. The tone was full of condescension, as if sparing Li Hao's little life was giving him alms. With Zhu Feng's words, those few people directly ignored Li Hao and planned to directly forcibly drive the big truck away. This is your own death. Seeing this, Li Hao showed a sneer on his face, and did not mean to block. Seeing that Li Hao did not move at all, Zhu Feng and the others, who were guarding against Li Hao's violent move, were also a little puzzled. Then, their expressions suddenly changed, their faces were full of fear, they froze in place, and they did not dare to move. I saw that 3 people wearing body armor jumped down from the back of the cargo box of the big truck, carrying a black rifle, and walked towards this side. Gun. Zhu Feng's face was full of fear, and he didn't have the slightest appearance of being arrogant before. This is a gun. They don't even have weapons on their hands now. These 3 people can easily kill them all. In the face of the threat of death, he fixed his mind. Zhu Feng seemed to have grasped a life-saving straw, and said to Li Hao, I was wrong just now. Big brother, don't see me in general, let me go like a fart. Saying that, he actually knelt down and kowtowed directly. That's not fast. Li Hao kicked the shameless guy directly. Yes. Get out of here now. Hearing this, Zhu Feng's face was full of joy for the rest of his life after the disaster, and he quickly took a few younger brothers and ran into the green tree community with a roll. Chapter 30 The all-killing flood dragon meeting. Obstacles on the way back. Mr. Li, thank you for your action. If it weren't for you, all my chickens and ducks would have been taken away by this group of scoundrels. Watching Zhu Feng and the others leave in embarrassment, Zhu Qianyu gratefully said to Li Hao. It's nothing, it's a trifle, keep trading. Li Hao smiled. Later, Li Hao chatted with Zhu Qianyu for a while, and also got a lot of specific information about this dragon society from her. This organization called the Dragon Society was started by a person named Wang Yan about 20 days ago. This person is a famous scoundrel in the green tree community, surrounded by a group of fox friends with similar smells. After the global disaster struck, I learned from the news that the official power of Shanghai City was severely damaged by meteorite fragments, and this person and those fox friends established this organization called the Dragon Society, and bullied other residents of the green tree community and robbed a lot of things. And seeing that it was profitable, many people also joined one after another, and the organization expanded rapidly. Until now, most of the green tree community has become the territory of these guys. And those in the community who did not want to join the Dragon Society also began to unite to survive and resist the Dragon Society's pressing step by step. Zhu Qianyu's family naturally joined this joint organization to resist the Dragon Society. If it weren't for me, I would have come down alone, then Zhu Feng wouldn't have dared to come so blatantly, Zhu Qianyu said with a palpitation. The situation just now is too dangerous. She didn't think that actor Zhu Feng succeeded, he only snatched her chicken and duck seedlings. If it weren't for Li Hao's move, she would probably have been forcibly taken away by Zhu Feng. Don't worry. This bandit organization will not last long. Li Hao said with a hint of meaning. Another minute passed. After counting the number of chicken and duck seedlings and confirming that the number is correct, the transaction was officially completed. Money and goods clear. That's right. Mr. Li, you should be careful when you go back. These days, this area is somewhat unsafe, and I heard that a group of people with guns recently came from outside, wantonly looting shelters and supplies. As if remembering something, Zhu Qianyu reminded Li Hao. A group of people who came over recently, still carrying guns. Li Hao's eyes were thoughtful. No, these people are the culprits in the big car accident on the highway. Thanks for the reminder. Guessing in his heart, Li Hao said thanks. Seeing Li Hao listening to his words, Zuki-anya did not stop much, and drove the van towards the green tree community. Seeing Zuki-anya leave, Li Hao did not mean to drive away. Get back to the car and wait quietly for something. 10 minutes later, a blood-stained figure strode out from the green tree community. It looks like no one at some point, no one disappeared. Apparently to carry out Li Hao's orders. Is it all done? Li Hao asked. All the members of the Dragon Society have been killed. Removing all the bloodstains from the radiation protection suit, no one entered the driver's seat and reported to Li Hao. That's good. Li Hao nodded. From the very beginning, he did not think of letting Zhu Feng and the others go. The reason why they didn't take their lives immediately was just to facilitate no one to follow them to the base camp of the Dragon Society and eliminate all the future troubles. The Dragon Exterminator Society is such a domineering bandit organization, and he has no psychological burden at all. Wait until no one takes a few clone warriors and moves all the materials of the Dragon Society back. Let's go. After sweeping away all the troubles and taking the loot, the nuclear battery heavy-duty truck drove in returns along the road where it came, and just when Li Hao and others drove in prepared to leave the suburbs of the North District of Shanghai City. In a room on a small building 100 meters away from them, a group of people were staring at them with binoculars. That outsider and the people from the Green Tree community completed the deal and seemed to be ready to go. The man with the telescope reported the information he saw. There are quite a few people in this room. There were more than 20 people, each with a fierce face, and a variety of firearms in his hands, obviously not a good person. This big fat sheep, we must not be go. Don't let them run. They entered the North District from the high-speed intersection, and they must leave from the high-speed intersection, so that Abin first took people to set up roadblocks on the highway. Hearing the intelligence reported by his subordinates, the one-eyed fierce man took out a submachine gun from his backpack and gave orders. It was clear that this man was the leader of this gang of evildoers. Yes. Top dog. With the one-eyed man's order, everyone began to act. Prepare to eat the fatty meat of Li Hao directly in one bite, and the other side. Li Hao and others did not know that the crisis was approaching, and still drove back step by step. It didn't take long for you to enter the highway outside the city through the entrance of the expressway located on the outskirts of Kitaku. After entering the highway, there are many fewer obstacles than in the urban area. Nuclear battery heavy-duty trucks began to speed up. A heavy-duty truck that can be called a giant gallops on this deserted highway. However, it wasn't long before the nuclear-powered trucks were forced to stop. I saw that the vehicles at the scene of the major car accident that Li Hao and others had cleaned up before piled up again and blocked the middle of the road. It seems that there are a lot more. What's going on? Could it be that the previous group of roadblock robbers who caused this major car accident are back? Li Hao frowned. This is clearly artificial. It's not a good comer. Chapter 31 Quick Fight, Quick Kill. Let's take a look at the situation first. If it's really that group of roadblock robbers, Li Hao's eyes showed a cold light. If you want to rob him, I'm afraid it's not a dream. Although he is now only accompanied by 4 clone warriors, after updating his equipment, he has a double defense, and unless he has a sniper rifle, he cannot penetrate it at all. Everyone is fully armed, coupled with their own terrifying combat literacy. It is not enough to kill hundreds of people. Therefore, there was no worry in his heart. Taking out the binoculars in the truck's locker, Li Hao took a closer look at the anomalies that appeared ahead. Sure enough, among the piled-up vehicles of the crash, he found a modified van that was dark on the outside, but was actually almost intact. There were many people inside, and there seemed to be 5 or 6 people. It seems that these cars piled up in the middle of the road are the handiwork of these people! However, this group of roadblock robbers should not be only 5 or 6 people, according to the previous one judgment on the traces of the car accident scene. This group of roadblock robbers is at least 15 or more. It seems that there should be many people who have not come, and they are behind. With speculation, Li Hao decided to make a quick decision and solve these 5 or 6 obstacles first. Have a clone warrior guard a nuclear battery heavy-duty truck. Li Hao, with 1 and 2 other clone fighters, quietly walked towards the car accident zone in front of him with an M19 assault rifle. High-speed intersection. In the pile of vehicles in a car accident. A few young men in radiation protection suits sat in a modified van disguised as an abandoned car, chatting while secretly observing a nuclear battery heavy-duty truck in the distance. There are dead people's car accident vehicles all around, and the real diaphragm should be obscure! What should the diaphragm do? Your psychological quality is still not good. These dead people were robbed by us when they were alive. What win and waves can they turn over when they die? You're completely psychological, and your heart is weak. Exactly. What is there to be afraid of? People are not ruthless and unstable. Fi, your courage still has to practice well, otherwise how can you follow Brother D along to do a big career? Brother A. Bin, do you say that we can really follow Brother D along to establish a big force in the last days of this dog day and become a human being? Of course. Now the times are different, the global disaster has come, the government itself is overwhelmed, where there is still air traffic control us, as long as we follow that big dragon brother well, become the elder of the big force, when the time comes to eat fragrant and drink spicy, want to play with beautiful woman does not. Several people chatted quietly, with longing in their eyes. I can't wait to be able to follow Brother D along to achieve a career immediately. After all, if it is not for the sake of becoming a human being, eating fragrant and drinking spicy, who wants to come out and mix black? And now that the times have changed, they have also seen the hope of becoming a human being with Brother D along, and naturally they will not work hard. Seeing that several of his subordinates were chatting more and more, Abin scolded with a smile. You guys pay attention, these gossip will be talked about later, don't mess things up. Don't worry. Brother A. Bin, this is not the first time for us, those people don't want to escape our pumps. Several people said confidently. And right now, holding a telescope to observe the people around, he suddenly spoke. That big truck seems to be coming. However, that big truck seems to have stopped suddenly, so it won't be that it found us, right? Hearing this, the faces of the others changed, and they immediately picked up the telescopes they had at hand to observe the situation. Probably not. We are hiding in a pile of abandoned vehicles, and those people can find it. Be careful, don't let those people run, otherwise Brother D along will blame him, and we will be miserable by then. Walk around. Take the guys down and see. Discovering that there was an accident in the plan, Abin shouted and ordered. However, several people took up arms and were just about to step out of the car door. Next second, bang. Bang. 2 gunshots rang out, and the heads of the 2 unlucky bastards sitting on the outermost part of the van directly hit a big hole in their heads. Red and white flowed all over the place. Groove. Someone attacked, however, before he finished speaking, several bullets flew in, accurately hitting several younger brothers around him. As soon as these people realized what was happening, their heads were directly pierced by bullets. Grass. 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 Seeing that all his subordinates rushed to the street in an instant, Abin cursed with horror on his face, and quickly opened the car door to escape. However, this is obviously also a great luxury. The moment he rushed out of the car door, 2 bullets pierced his knee with incomparable accuracy, causing him to fall to his knees weakly and lose the ability to escape forever. Behind the fence of the highway, Li Hao stood up without any fluctuations on his face. For clone warriors, solving these guys who have not undergone professional training is simply killing chickens with a cow knife. Not to mention, this is still in the case of mental calculation and unintentional calculation. No, in less than 5 seconds, the gang all rushed to the street. If he hadn't asked to keep one person for questioning, I'm afraid he would have been killed all in an instant. Walking into the waste car pile with 3 clone warriors, Li Hao looked at Abin, who was lying on the ground and wailing, with an indifferent expression, and said, "Nice to see you, what do you want to say to me? For example, why are you blocking the road with abandoned vehicles here? Say you." A group of bitches raised attack sneak labor. Covering his knees, Abin gritted his teeth and spoke. His eyes were full of resentment. Huh? What's the difference? Do you think you can deal with this, and the end result is not the same? I just made the process a little faster, so that you can die without fear and pain. Li Hao shook his head and sighed. However, although he was telling the truth, Abin obviously didn't think so, and was immediately cursed in anger, greeting the 18th generation of ancestors who cursed Li Hao and others. Hearing this, Li Hao didn't care. This incompetent fury of the defeated man meant nothing to him. He just wanted to know now whether these people had a purpose and whether they were specifically targeting him. Not wanting to talk nonsense, Li Hao simply pointed the muzzle of the assault rifle at Abin's head and asked calmly, "You guys are blocking the road with abandoned vehicles, are you specifically rushing at me?" Chapter 32 The dead enemy is the best enemy. Feeling the cold muzzle on his head, Abin also stopped his cursing mouth, leaving a drop of cold sweat on his forehead. However, after regaining his senses, he seemed to know that Li Hao could not let him go, and he did not say the meaning of his purpose, but gritted his teeth and drove towards Li Hao, and said angrily, "Stop talking nonsense. You have the kind of killing labor and management now, and labor and management will not say anything. Later, Brother D along will bring people over to see what waves you can turn over with these guns. Oh. So that's the case, you came specifically for me, and the main messenger should be the so-called Big Dragon Brother. Listen to what you mean, it seems that the number of you and the number of firearms in your hands are not few. Li Hao instantly heard a lot of useful information from Abin's words, and also roughly outlined the ins and outs of this matter. After confirming the information, Li Hao also looked at Abin lying on the ground with some amusement. That big dragon brother is such a stupid subordinate, and he is really unlucky. He said that he would not say anything, but in fact, almost most of the intelligence in his words was exposed. Hearing Li Hao's analysis, Abin, who was shouting, was also stunned. Immediately, he also reacted that he seemed to have said the wrong thing just now. But he still stiffened his head and continued to threaten Li Hao. Now that the road has been completely blocked, Brother Dialong will immediately bring a large number of people over, and you have been completely blocked on the high-speed frame. If you don't want to die, you will quickly release me, and the labor and management will introduce you to work under Brother Dialong, and when the time comes, you will be guaranteed to eat fragrant and spicy food. Huh? Are you treating others as fools like you? Only a fool would believe such a thing. Say it again. Your so-called big dragon brother is not qualified to let me be a little brother. Li Hao said with a sneer. There was a hint of mockery on his face. Rest, mud horse. Then wait for death. I am waiting for you in hell. Hearing this, Abin was also so angry that he continued to curse and curse angrily. Seeing Abin's appearance, Li Hao didn't want to waste any more time. Anyway, most of the information I want has already arrived. Solve this person with one shot. Then, the so-called big dragon brother is about to come over, then you can ambush it again. After a moment of silence, Li Hao also had a decision in his heart. After all, the enemy who dares is the best enemy. However, it is not clear how strong the firepower of the so-called big dragon brother's subordinates is, and I don't know if there are heavy weapons such as bazookas and sniper rifles. For the sake of prudence, it seems that we have to arrange it first to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Li Hao looked at the corpses on the ground, and an inexplicable smile appeared on his face, just as Li Hao was about to make a fuss with those corpses. The other side. The big dragon brother in Abin's mouth is rushing towards this side with his subordinates. The number of people seemed to be quite large, and it took a total of 5 vehicles to fit. The most conspicuous of these is a modified version of a luxury Land Rover. This off-road vehicle has a fairly high chassis, and after modification, it can be clearly seen that it is more than half a meter higher than other cars. It looks very majestic. That modified version of the heavy truck has absolutely a lot of space in the cargo box. It should not be a problem to get a luxurious mobile evacuation base, and it will be much easier to transfer the location in the future. Sitting in the passenger seat of this modified Land Rover, Dialong looked at the surrounding scenery while thinking about how to use the heavy-duty truck that looked very well modified. That's right. In his eyes, Li Hao's nuclear battery heavy-duty van is already in his pocket. The official shelter in Shanghai City was hit hard by meteorites, and I couldn't take care of myself, and I couldn't divide the manpower to maintain order in the surrounding area, not to mention that I deliberately ran to the outskirts of the northern district that was farthest from the official shelter. Without the obstruction of official personnel, who else can stop my rise? Brother Dialong wiped the submachine gun in his hand, and a sneer flowed from his face. In these days, force is the most important thing. As a newly developed new area, the North District originally did not have any big bosses or big forces. It can be said that he is now the strongest person on the outskirts of the North District. Dozens of gunmen under his command, who can't stop it. It is precisely in this way that he can mix well on the outskirts of the Northern District. Even if he and his subordinates wantonly robbed and killed people, none of the survivors in the Northern District dared to unite to resist him head-on. It didn't take long. The 5 cars stopped. The strong man sitting in the driver's seat of the modified Land Rover respectfully said to Brother Long, "Boss, it's time to get to the place." Everyone got out of the car. "Boss." Abin, they seemed to have succeeded, and the big truck stopped motionless in front. A subordinate pointed to the heavy-duty trucks in front of the pile of abandoned cars and said that Brother Dialong got out of the car and looked over there. I saw that the heavy-duty truck stopped motionless in front of the pile of abandoned cars, and there were several corpses who had taken off their radiation protection suits on the side. Bin, they have already killed all those car owners. Brother Dialong was also a little surprised in his heart. According to the intelligence of the previous investigation, those few people were all carrying rifles, and they would be solved by Abin so easily. It's too easy. However, it is also possible. After all, if those few people hadn't found Abin, they would have rushed down to clean up the abandoned cars blocking the road. Under the raid, those few people are afraid that they will be directly killed by Abin. Seeing this scene, the others under Brother Dialong were also very happy. It is naturally a good thing to live so easily today. Finish early, finish work early. Bin, this kid can. Unexpectedly, all the work was done so sharply. That's all the bosses planned to do. Well, the boss is wise. Using abandoned cars to block the road, and when they clear the obstacles, all those people are killed, and the boss's plan is simply seamless. Yes, yes, yes. The boss is wise. Seeing that the matter seemed to be over, everyone immediately slapped their bosses. When Brother Dialong heard the horse fought his subordinates, he was also a little flattering, and led everyone to stride leisurely and walk towards the heavy-duty truck. Come to the heavy truck. Brother Dialong and his subordinates suddenly changed their faces. They were shocked to find that the corpses on the ground were not the owners of the trucks they imagined, but their companions, Abin and others. Chapter 33 Eliminate evil and do everything. Abin, Afai, Young, these are all the corpses of our own people. Grass. Who did this to you? Before they could wake up from the shocking fact, a series of gunshots sounded directly outside the highway railings on the side. Bang. 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 5 M19 assault rifles roared wildly, spitting out a series of tons of fire. It was Li Hao and others who made a move. At such a short distance, Li Hao can easily sweep people. Not to mention the clone warriors. Almost one shot at a time. Under the fire of 5 assault rifles, in an instant, about a dozen people fell to the ground and wailed. He did not die and lost his ability to fight. Grass. Fight while withdrawing. Seeing that his subordinates were killed and injured in an instant, Brother Dialong's face suddenly changed drastically. Under the order of the boss, the blinded people barely raised their fighting intent and shot randomly in the direction of Li Hao and others. As for whether you can shoot or not, then you can only go with the flow. However, whether they hit it or not, Li Hao and the 4 clone warriors had no intention of hiding. These people are all small pistols and submachine guns, and the bullets fired are very powerful, and it is impossible to break through the double defenses on their bodies and injure them. Unless these people suddenly pull out sniper rifles or rockets. After determining that there were no powerful weapons and sniper equipment on the opposite side, Li Hao directly left the bunker with 4 clones and chased and killed the retreating Dialong and the others. Those fierce pistols and submachine gun bullets hit Li Hao and others' new version of radiation protection life support suits, and they could not penetrate at all. Even the kinetic energy brought by the bullet is absorbed by the special body armor inside. Grass. What kind of clothes these people are wearing? Nama can't even shoot through bullets. Seeing this scene, Brother Dialong also couldn't help but burst into a foul mouth, and the only one-eyed one flashed with fear. No hesitation. Knowing that the general trend was gone, Brother Dialong took a few henchmen, turned around and left, and rushed towards the modified Land Rover. Want to hurry away from Li Hao and others. In the reaction of others is naturally similar. Seeing that their firearms could not cause the slightest damage to Li Hao and the others, they immediately desperately turned their heads and fled for their lives. But Li Hao obviously couldn't just let them go. Eliminate evil, cut grass and roots. Under Li Hao's orders, 4 clone warriors carry out a precise slaughter of these villains. Almost a single bullet can easily destroy an enemy. Having lost the will to fight, those people simply did not have any ability and courage to resist. I only know that frantically escaping, but I don't know that giving my back to my enemies can only make myself die faster. The guns roared, and the men fell like weed. Even the one-eyed man who fled in the first place did not escape the bad luck. A big hole was punched in the throat, and blood gushed out. All the men that are not dead, don't leave a living mouth. Looking at this scene of blood splashing, Li Hao said indifferently. He has adapted to this post-apocalyptic life. The identities of these people he probably guessed should be the group of outsiders who came to the outskirts of the North District to kill and rob people mentioned by Zuki Anya, and they were also the culprits of the big car accident on the highway. For these vicious, murderous and robbery guys, he obviously can't be soft-hearted. Leaving a living mouth will only cause trouble for yourself. Yes. Hearing Li Hao's order, the 4 clone warriors answered in unison. Start rummaging through the corpses of the battlefield, replenishing each corpse with a shot in the forehead. To confirm complete death. After completing this work, Li Hao and others put away all the firearms of these people and threw them into the cargo box of the nuclear battery heavy truck. Then, a pile of abandoned cars in front of them is removed. The nuclear battery heavy-duty car started again and headed off the highway into the distance. Only 20 or so hideous corpses were left in place after solving the thugs who robbed and killed people on the highway. The rest of the road did not have much waves. Bon voyage. At 10 o'clock p.m., the nuclear-powered heavy-duty truck also returned to its underground shelter on the outskirts of the Eastern District. Driving the nuclear-powered heavy-duty truck into the underground garage, Li Hao and 4 clones take all the gains from this trip to the shelter. Take off radiation protection life support suits and special body armor. Li Hao, who had been hungry for a long time, cooked a bowl of noodles for the first time as dinner. After filling his stomach, Li Hao began to process the gains of the trip. Let know. 1 and others put all the confiscated firearms in the firearms storage room for backup. I forgot to build the farm first. These chickens and ducklings don't have a place to put now. Li Hao looked at the box of chickens and ducklings in front of him, and also had a little headache. Some miscalculation when there was no news of chickens and ducks before. He should have built the farm first. It seems that these 500 chicks and ducklings can only stay in this box first. Wait until tomorrow and he builds the farm and release the chickens and ducklings. After all, it's late today. Thinking so, Li Hao got some wheat and rice from the pantry for the chickens and ducklings. Later, a few small bowls were made to serve as water basins to give the chickens and ducklings a place to drink. After all this, Li Hao went back to the back room, washed and went to bed. Chapter 34 Fully Automatic Multifunctional Mechanical Building Octopus December 28, 2020 Early morning. Li Hao got up from the bed, feeling that his bones were a little sore. I was so tired from running around for so long yesterday. Yesterday I took the car for a day, and today I am sore. It seems that exercising my physique needs to be put on the agenda. Rubbing his cervical spine, Li Hao stretched, and his heart was also a little depressed, determined to exercise well and improve his physique. However, after doing so many things yesterday, the survival performance should be very good. I don't know how many points I can get. System, open the task log. When the words fail, a translucent virtual screen that only Li Hao could see instantly appeared in front of his eyes. Doomsday Survival, Long-Term Mission, today's mission reward settlement completed. Survival performance. You complete the daily maintenance of the underground shelter with plus 50 points. You have the news of chicken and duck seedlings. Drive to the outskirts of the North District of Shanghai City to trade with their owners, and earn plus 100 points to find the scene of a huge car accident on the highway. After reconnaissance, you determine that it is man-made. You start to be vigilant. Points plus 300. You successfully recycle and trade 5 diesel generators and 500 pounds of diesel fuel from a temperamental royal sister to 500 chicken and duck seedlings, with plus 1,000 points during the transaction. There is a bandit organization. The Dragon Society wants to rob your things. You successfully fight back, and let them know. One clone warrior kill all members of the Dragon Society to eliminate the consequences, and the points are plus 2,000. On your way back, you encounter a group of armed robbers blocking the way, trying to kill people and cross the border. You set a trap and ambush, and successfully destroy this gang, plus 2,500 points to successfully take the chicken and duck back to the underground shelter with plus 200 points. You eat 3 meals a day, steadily consumed energy, and maintain a balanced body nutrition. Plus 20 points to go into a deep sleep, refreshed, and the physical energy consumed yesterday is fully restored. Plus 30 points. Congratulations to the host for earning 6,700 points. 6,700 points. Seeing this number, Li Hao's face also showed a hint of surprise. He didn't expect that he actually gained so many points yesterday. That's worth the amount he can earn for a month in the shelter. But yes, there were too many things that happened yesterday, and after the trip, even those underworld forces were destroyed by 2, and it is difficult to have high points for survival performance settlement. After being surprised, Li Hao thought about it and found that it seemed very normal for the points settlement to be so high. This time I found myself skyrocketing in points. Today a large farm needs to be built. Li Hao also had some thoughts in mind. Expanding the underground shelter and setting up a farm capable of raising 500 chickens and ducks is no easy task. Not to mention, the number of these chickens and ducks will continue to grow. In other words, at least 500 square meters more space needs to be expanded. That's quite a big job. He needed an automated construction robot to assist him in this project. Moreover, this automated construction robot can not only be used to build farms, but also for all new construction work in the future. It's a great deal. Let's take a look at the system's Doomsday Black Technology Mall first. Thinking like this, Li Hao opened the mall panel and began to screen the automated construction robots he needed. Construction mapping robots, automatic masonry robots, steel welding robots, fully automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus robot, automatic construction manufacturing robot. With money in his pocket, Li Hao directly skipped over the low-grade goods that were useless, and locked his eyes on a construction robot that looked like an octopus and had a dozen manipulators. Automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus weight. 1.76 tons movement method. Anti-gravity flight number of manipulators. 16, with various construction tools, can be automatically extended. Function. Automatic mapping, automatic welding, automatic masonry, power source. Nuclear battery introduction. Mechanical engineering creation, a fully automatic multi-functional mechanical building octopus with nuclear batteries energy, using anti-gravity flight mode to move, no need to charge, internal power supply can drive heavy-duty trucks for hundreds of years, built-in construction procedures and tools, can automatically calculate and draw the best construction drawings, can be applied to the construction of almost any building. If I can buy this fully automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus, I will have a tireless, comprehensive super construction worker, and because it is mechanical, the work efficiency is definitely many times higher than that of human workers. Li Hao's eyes lit up. Of course, this fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus has so many advantages, and its price is naturally quite touching. It takes 7,500 points to get it. In other words, the points settled today must not only be used up, but also 800 points must be pasted into it. But after some thought, Li Hao decided to buy this fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus. After all, if you don't buy it today, you will still buy it later. In the future, the construction of underground shelters will definitely not be less, and it will be larger and larger, and it is imperative to purchase automated construction robots. Since this is the case, it is better to buy it early and save more effort. Determined, Li Hao clicked directly to buy. Points, 7,500 in the next second. Li Hao's system inventory has an extra mechanical octopus. From the inventory, remove the mechanical octopus. The next moment, a silver-white mechanical octopus with a height of 2.5 meters and 16 mechanical tentacles appeared in front of Li Hao's eyes. Looking closely, Li Hao found that the silver-white mechanical octopus did not touch the ground at all, but stood in mid-air in a floating manner. Is this called anti-gravity? Li Hao's eyes also flashed with surprise and shock. After all, this is a black technology that only exists in the conjecture stage. Sure enough, you get what you pay for, and this fully automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus is still worth buying. Everything is ready. It's time to start building the chicken and duck farm. Coming to his senses, Li Hao walked towards the underground garage on the other side of the underground shelter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelas. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35 Chicken and Duck Farms, Fast-Growing Earthworms. Take the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus and walk into the underground garage. After making a round, Li Hao also chose the location of the farm in his heart. He decided to build the location of the farm behind the south wall of the underground garage. Add a door to the south wall and then build a large chicken and duck farm in front of the gate. The advantage of this is also obvious, that is, to isolate the smell of farmed chickens and ducks, so as not to let the entire underground shelter waft the smell. However, the air circulation and purification device of the breeding plant must also be done well, otherwise it is easy to breed diseases and cause chickens and ducks to get sick and die. It is best to build as large a farm as possible, so that there is no place to live after the chickens and ducks breed. There is also feeding and drinking. It is better to automate the operation, otherwise there will be trouble just feeding 500 chickens and ducks, not to mention that there may be more breeding in the future. After thinking about it, Li Hao also had a general outline in his mind about the construction requirements of this chicken and duck breeding plant. After making sure that there were no omissions, Li Hao outputs these construction requirements and parameters on the operator panel of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus. Then, click on the construction drawings. In less than 30 seconds, a construction drawing of a 1,000 square meter modern chicken and duck breeding plant came out. After reading it and making sure that the drawing perfectly met his requirements, Li Hao did not delay much, went straight back to the shelter, took out the small automatic excavator used to expand the underground garage from the tool warehouse, and prepared to dry. Let the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus make a large hole in the south wall of the underground garage to expose the dirt behind the wall, and Li Hao starts a small automatic excavator to excavate directly. As a black technology in the future, the excavation efficiency of small automatic excavators is extremely fast. The soil layer in front of you is dug up at a speed visible to the naked eye. In less than 10 minutes, it expanded to nearly 100 square meters of space. And while the small automated excavator was working, Li Hao was not idle. Have the clone warriors move the cement and steel stored in the underground garage. Subsequently, the working mode of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus is turned on. In the next second, Li Hao saw how the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus works. I saw the 16 mechanical tentacles of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus moving in unison. In cement, digging foundations, welding steel bars. A series of work is carried out simultaneously. In just 1 minute, a cement load-bearing column was a prototype. Small automatic excavators open up the soil layer, and the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus stabilizes as the underground space and prevents collapse. Under the hard work of 2 black technology machines that do not belong to this era. After 3 hours, A 1,000 square meter the space was formed. The dozen cement load-bearing columns in this underground space are also rapidly hardened under the action of the cement dryer to support this underground space. After completing the initial development and reinforcement of the underground space, Li Hao put away the small automatic excavator and began to apply the fully automatic multi-functional mechanical building octopus according to the deduced construction drawings, began to pour the cement floor, divide the breeding zoning site, and at the same time began to install and lay electrical wires and water pipes. When everything is done, a large farm full of modern technology appears in front of Li Hao. The area of 1,000 square meters is divided into 10 breeding areas by reinforced steel pipes. Each breeding area is 10 square meters, with 10 automatic feed tanks, 10 automatic drinking fountains, and complete air purification circulation devices. According to Li Hao's calculations, it is not a problem to raise 200 adult chickens and ducks in a breeding area. And with those automated breeding equipment, the breeding of chickens and ducks is very easy. Just let people shovel once in a few days. It's finally finished. As long as the chicken and duck seedlings are putting, the system task should be completed. With this in mind, Li Hao asked No. 1 to return to the underground shelter and bring over the box containing 500 chicken and duck seedlings. Open the box. Li Hao separates the chickens and ducks and places them in 2 different breeding areas. G. Go. With hundreds of chickens and ducks moving in, the farm has become worthy of its name. Open the system inventory. Sure enough. Farm construction. The reward for completing the task has arrived. That's a big box of fast-growing earthworms. Fast-growing earthworms growth cycle. 1 month, from birth to adulthood. Introduction. This kind of fast-growing earthworm bred by genetic engineering, its growth rate is 3 times that of normal earthworms, and the nutrients contained in it can accelerate the growth of chickens and ducks, reduce the growth cycle of chickens and ducks by 1/3, enhance the ability of chickens and ducks to produce eggs, increase their nutritional value, and make their taste more delicious. The reward this time is also good! Fast growth, easy feeding, but also can accelerate the growth cycle of chickens and ducks by 1/3, strengthen the egg production capacity of chickens and ducks. It is simply the perfect feed for chickens and ducks. Raised with these fast-growing earthworms, it only takes more than a month for the first chickens and ducks to be slaughtered and provide meat for the shelter. Li Hao nodded in satisfaction. In a month, there will be 500 more chickens and ducks out of the shelter. Even if some of them need to reproduce, the number of chickens and ducks in the other part greatly exceeds the daily consumption of underground shelters. In other words, from next month, he can really eat chicken and duck meat casually. This is obviously quite a happy luxury in a post-apocalyptic world like this. After all, people in other shelters can only know earthworms. Some people can't even eat earthworms. Knowing the preciousness of this fast-growing earthworm, Li Hao specially merged 2 vacant breeding areas of the farm and sealed them with cement into a big pond. Subsequently, a large amount of soil is poured into it. After getting the growing environment right, Li Hao took out the large box of fast-growing earthworms in the inventory and put it into this dirt pool. As long as you pay attention to the timely supply of rotten vegetable leaves and plant roots, these fast-growing earthworms should soon be able to multiply for chickens and ducks to peck. All the matters related to the farm were taken care of, and it was already 9 punched out of the newly built chicken and duck farm. After Li Hao ate the late-night snack that Zhazhua cooked for himself, he didn't have the mind to play games, and went back to the bedroom to take a shower and rest. Chapter 36 Collecting Vegetable Seeds. December 29, 2020. The super cold snap is still sweeping the world, and the weather is getting colder. The surface temperature reaches -65 degrees and continues to drop. And it seems that because the sky is once again abundant with moisture, the snowfall, which had been soothing, has become violent again. The outside is covered with almost endless snowflakes, and the visibility is definitely no more than 3 meters. Anything beyond 3 meters away can't be seen at all. In such extreme weather, it is obviously not suitable to go out. Therefore, Li Hao did not mean to go out, and camped in his underground shelter. Anyway, the underground shelter is very safe, eats and drinks well, and the super snow outside will not affect him for a long time. Nothing to brush the news and chat with sand sculpture netizens. When you're bored, you can also play online games with Zhazuki's triplets, and live a beautiful life. December 30, 2020. Today's super snowfall has not stopped. Due to the continuous super snowfall, the already poor network signal is now not received again. Can T sand sculpture netizens chat. Li Hao also collected his mood, ready to improve his physical strength and body. After all, the body is leather. The cost of life to this end, he also took 100 points from the system and customized himself with the best exercise plan that best matched his current physique. December 31, 2020. The super snowfall did not seem to stop for a short time. Under continuous heavy snowfall, the rate of surface temperature drop accelerates. It has now fallen below -75°, a record low. However, Li Hao did not care, just routinely recorded the surface temperature every day, and the rate of decline in the surface temperature. After all, as long as the temperature does not approach -150°, it is nothing to him. At -75°, which is half as far as -150°. You know, the more the temperature drops, the more difficult it is, and it is not easy task for the surface temperature to drop from -75° to -150°. Whether it can even be achieved is another matter. Therefore, Li Hao did not have much worry in his heart. After completing the daily temperature record, Li Hao returned to the underground shelter and continued to perform iron lifting exercises in the gym according to the system's customized exercise plan. Although the exercise time is still short, and there is not much effect at present, Li Hao found that his spirit and appetite after the exercise were much better than before. With such benefits, although the exercise is quite hard, Li Hao has no intention of giving up. Idle is idle anyway. If you don't find something for yourself to do, I'm afraid your body will rust. January 1, 2021. This day is the first day of the new year, which is New Year's Day. If it was peacetime, all the people of Xia Kingdom on this day should have reunited, worshipped ancestors, ate dumplings, and admired flower lanterns. However, in the apocalypse of global catastrophe, all this can only be a fantasy. Most of the people alive now do not talk about reunion, ancestor worship, eating dumplings, and viewing lanterns, and being able to eat a normal meal in peacetime is a luxury. Compared to these people, Li Hao is obviously much better. At least the food and supplies are extremely abundant, and there is no need to worry about food at all. For most people's extravagant meals now, for him he can eat every day. After eating a meal of dumplings made by Shazuki according to custom, Li Hao continued to enter the fitness room to exercise. Exercise is addictive. These days of exercise have also made him a little on top. The feeling of sweating and challenging the limits of the body, Li Hao is also quite enjoyable. And the system-specific workout program is also very effective. After these few days of exercise, he can clearly feel that his body is getting stronger little by little. According to the dynamometer, his strength has increased by at least 5 kilograms compared to 3 days ago. In terms of physical fitness, there is a significant improvement compared to before. January 2, 2021. Li Hao continues to sweat in the fitness room. On the evening of this day, the system released a new task. Vegetable seed collection mission description. As vegetables are an important help to maintain the acid-base balance in the human body, the scarcity of vegetable types will be extremely detrimental to the long-term development of the shelter. Ask the host to collect more than 100 vegetable seeds. Mission rewards. Biological gene editing station, used to edit biological genes and manufacture genetic technology products. It's not easy to complete this task. The super snowfall has not passed, and now you can't even get out the door. How to collect vegetable seeds. Looking at the requirements of the system task, Li Hao is also a little helpless. Chapter 37. Blizzard subsides. January 3, 2021. The intensity of the snowfall today began to decrease, and the network signal was restored. It's just that the signal is still not comparable to before the snowfall. However, it is good that it can barely be used. After discovering that he could receive a network signal, Li Hao immediately posted the news on the trading forum that he was using grain to buy vegetable seeds. This vegetable seed is the same as the chicken and duck seedlings. After direct irradiation, the vegetable seeds on the surface are obviously unusable. Therefore, they can only trade with people in other shelters. However, this vegetable seed is obviously different from the living creature of chickens and ducks, which do not need food or raise, only water and land to grow. The number of people or shelters that have them is definitely no longer a minority. As long as it is a shelter with its own vegetable planting room, it basically reserves a considerable amount of vegetable seeds. In general, the larger the shelter, the more varieties of vegetable seeds are reserved. Especially in official shelters, the stock of vegetable seed varieties is absolutely quite complete. Therefore, the difficulty of buying vegetable seeds is definitely much lower than that of chicken and duck seedlings. Sure enough, after this purchase news was released, many people initiated a transaction chat towards Li Hao. Ignoring the crooks who clearly want white wolves with empty gloves, Li Hao chats with those who are sincere in trading. 3 shelters were finally decided for the transaction, one of which was also an official shelter in Shanghai City. If it weren't for the fact that other shelters were too far away, there would be more shelters that determine the intention to trade. After all, exchanging a portion of stored vegetable seeds for a batch of grain is a good deal. Li Hao calculated that the vegetable varieties provided by the 3 refuges were already 89 varieties, except for a few that coincided. That is, as long as the deal is made, his task can be completed by most of it. Collect 11 more to complete the mission. Unfortunately, the official shelter of Shanghai City was hit by a meteorite, which was hit hard and severely affected, and there are so many seeds varieties left. Otherwise, the remaining 11 vegetable seeds should not be a problem. Li Hao sighed secretly, a little pity. However, even so, it made his vegetable seed collection path a lot easier. Unable to go out due to blizzard, Li Hao had to make a deal with the 3 shelters first. Wait for blizzard to be less intense before proceeding to the deal. This day passed so peacefully. January 4, 2021. The intensity of the blizzard gradually decreased, and there seemed to be signs of stopping. The surface temperature is no longer plummeting. The rate of decline is several times slower than before. January 5, 2021. On this day, the blizzard finally stopped. The sky is sparsely littered with snowflakes. Li Hao clears the snow from the entrance of the underground shelter. Later, he went out with a few clone warriors. 1 to trade vegetable seeds with grain and shelters that determined their intention to trade. On this day, he received 24 different vegetable seeds. January 6, 2021. The weather was common and snow was falling. Li Hao once again took a few clone warriors. 1 out to trade vegetable seeds with grain in the official shelter of Shanghai City, which confirmed the intention to trade. On this day, he received 45 different vegetable seeds. January 7, 2021. Li Hao once again goes out with a few clone warriors. 1 to trade vegetable seeds with grain in the shelter that has confirmed the intention to trade. On this day, in addition to duplicate seeds, he received 22 different vegetable seeds. So far, Li Hao has obtained 91 different vegetable seeds, 2 more than he calculated. January 8, 2021. Li Hao posted on trading forums, and many interested traders started chatting with him. After a while of sifting, only 2 shelters still had vegetable seed varieties that he didn't have. January 9, 2021. Li Hao traded again, and the vegetable seed collection progress reached 94, only 6 varieties short, and the task could be completed. January 10, 2021. Nothing. January 11, 2021. Trading again, Li Hao got 2 more varieties of vegetables that he didn't have in his hands. January 12, 2021. January 13, 2021. The days go by. In the blink of an eye. The time has come to January 17, 2021. To date, Li Hao has obtained seeds from 98 different vegetables. There are only 2 kinds of distance from the target. This morning. Today, the snowfall in the Shanghai City area began to become fierce again, and the visibility was greatly reduced, which was really not suitable for going out. After breakfast, Li Hao sat in the shelter, playing GTA 5, a classic AAA masterpiece. Due to its rich mainline and branch lines, and high degree of freedom, Li Hao has not been tired of playing for more than 10 days. Another hour passed. Just as Li Hao closed his game and prepared to head to the gym to work out. However, right now, there was a sudden prompt in the back office of his trading forum. Li Hao clicked in and found that there was information of someone wanted to trade vegetable seeds for grain. Could it be that this person has the vegetable seeds I need to shoot? Previously, due to the problem of seed duplication, Li Hao directly re-edited the post he posted on the trading forum, adding the name of the vegetable seed variety he already owned, indicating that he did not need it. The effect is also very obvious. Those who repeat seeds no longer send messages to harass him. As a result, his trading forum backend was unresponsive for several days. And now someone is sending him a trading message. This suggests that the person is likely to have vegetable seeds of his own variety. With just 2 more, he can complete the task of collecting 100 kinds of vegetable seeds. Seeing the hope of completing the task, Li Hao quickly clicked into this transaction request information and talked to this person. This person sends a photo of the seed he is about to shoot. Li Hao was also a little excited to find that there were 3 vegetable seeds that he did not have. After some negotiation with them, the intention of the transaction was successfully determined, and the place and time of the transaction were negotiated. Chapter 38. The Thugs Break the Door. January 18, 20,218, am. After breakfast, Li Hao was ready to go. Taking a few clones with 1. Li Hao headed for the underground garage outside the shelter. Since there were no bulk cargo in this transaction, Li Hao decided to drive a radiation-proof snowmobile. This model is more suitable for snow driving than nuclear battery heavy-duty trucks weighing tens of tons, and the speed is also much faster. Bring the 100 pounds of rice needed for this transaction. Number 1 takes the driver's seat. Ignition. Drive a radiation-proof snowmobile and slowly drive out of the underground garage. Snow rain down in the sky. The north wind is howling, and the cold wind is biting. The whole heaven and earth seemed to become a pure white world. Life was extinct, and everything was dead and silent. The engine of the radiation-proof snowmobile roared, speeding through the white world, speeding into the distance. This time, the destination was in a county called Yongsan Prefecture under Shanghai City. Although this county seat belongs to Shanghai City, it is a bit far away from Shanghai City. The whole journey is more than 200 kilometers. Even if you take the highway, it takes about 3 hours to get there. With the increasingly severe cold weather now, it will obviously take longer. According to Li Hao's prediction, it will be good to be in Yongsan County at 12. It took about an hour. Radiation-proof snowmobiles passed the highway intersection where the previous accident was piled up. Li Hao found that the bodies of more than 2 dozen roadblock robbers he had killed before were all missing. Not even bones remained. Now that the weather is freezing and the temperature between heaven and earth is much lower than in an ice cellar, it is impossible for these corpses to decay in such an environment. But now it's gone. Could it be that the official sent someone to clean it up? Li Hao guessed in his heart. However, it has been so long since the bodies of those roadblocks disappeared. As for how it disappeared, mind his. It doesn't threaten him anyway. Without much thought, the radiation-proof snowmobile followed the road he had cleared before, along the highway, and galloped towards Yongsan County outside Shanghai City. The trip was also quite smooth. I didn't encounter any rotten moths along the way. There are no robbers standing in the way. At about 12 noon, the radiation-proof snowmobile successfully drove into Yongsan County. After arriving in Yongsan County, according to the trading location sent by the man, Li Hao asked no one to drive towards the Angfeng community on Yushu Street in Yongsan County. Smooth journey. Li Hao made it to his destination. Drive the car to the Angfeng community and find a place to park. Afterwards, Li Hao took a few clone warriors and strode towards the person who contacted him for the deal, the place of the said transaction. Building 5 Unit 811, it should be here. Comparing the address information that the contact said, Li Hao found a building marked Unit 9 underneath. 5 blocks of 9 units is here, that's right. According to the general house numbering rules, house 811 is obviously on the 8th floor. Confirming that he was not in the wrong place, Li Hao took the clone warrior and walked upstairs. No way, the elevator has long been completely wasted. I had to walk the stairs slowly. Bang. 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 At the door of room 811, a group of big men wearing radiation protection suits are holding several large iron hammers to frantically hammer the modified metal iron door in front of them. The person at the head is a bald man with a tiger's back and a bear's waist. That size, that muscle. Just looking at it makes people feel a rather strong deterrent. Harder exclamation mark. If you don't want to starve to death, just smash me hard. The bald man held a shotgun and roared loudly. With his roar, the others also trembled and smashed harder. The bald man held a shotgun and roared loudly. Clatter of the hammer colliding with a metal gate also became louder, constantly echoing through this floor. However, no one of the people living in this building dared to come out to take a look, completely ignoring the sound, as if they had never heard it. Obviously, no one dares to provoke these fierce thugs and get themselves into trouble for the sake of an unrelated neighbor. Behind the big iron gate of room 811 is a simple shelter that has been transformed. There were about a dozen people living inside. There are both men and women, young and old, all of whom are relatives who are close in blood. This simple shelter was built by several of them. Now, listening to the sound of hammers banging outside the door, everyone in the shelter showed a scared, terrified expression. Uncle, those people have been smashing doors outside, what should I do? A thin man with glasses, looking at the middle-aged man not far away, asked. The middle-aged man's name was Wen An, and he was also the one who contacted Li Hao to trade before. He contributed most of the effort to the construction of this simple shelter. Therefore, he is also extremely prestigious among his relatives and has always been the backbone and decision-maker of this simple shelter. However, now that this kind of thing is encountered, he is also helpless. After all, if he can't fight and fight, what else can he do? The difference in the value of force between the two sides is too large. He also had no firearms in his hands. Could it be that he relied on his mouth alone to let all the gangsters outside the door retreat? Stop dreaming. Seeing that one didn't mean to speak at all, the atmosphere in the shelter suddenly became heavier. Fear spreads in the air. At this time, outside the door, the bald man saw that the metal iron door in front of him had been smashed for a long time before. He was a little deformed, and he was also a little worried that if the time dragged on, there would be some accidents. So he waved his hand to let his subordinates temporarily stop their movements and shouted inside the iron gate. Boss Wen, we don't want to hurt you, but the brothers are all going to eat, and the blizzard some time ago made all the food grown in our shelter gone. As long as you give us 300 pounds of food, we will immediately turn around and leave. The bald man was half threatening and half appeased, as if that was the case. However, the expressions of him and his men outside the door became more and more hideous, and as soon as the door opened, they rushed in and plundered. Boss Wen, how are you thinking about it? Can you open the door or not? Even if you don't open this door, we can open it sooner or later, and then I won't be so good to talk to. Now, as long as you open the door and send us 300 pounds of food, I promise not to touch a single hair of yours. The iron gate in front of him did not move, and the threat in the great Chinese atmosphere at the moment was even heavier. Coercion and inducement. Crazy put psychological pressure on the people inside the iron gate. Chapter 39. The hero who saved the refuge. Inside the metal gate. Listening to the constant threat sound outside the door, everyone's expressions were very complicated. I don't know if I should believe what the thugs say. There was a long silence. A middle-aged woman seemed to be moved, and whispered to Wen Anzi, or open the door and give them 300 cattas of grain. We still have 500 cattas left, save some food, and there should be no problem staying up until the next planting room harvest. The middle-aged woman's words seemed to break the atmosphere of silence. All of a sudden, 6 or 7 opened their mouths to offer their opinions. And he is right. Uncle Wen, if they really break down and come in, we will all die. It is better to give them 300 cattas of grain, and we should break the wealth and eliminate the disaster. A young man in a down jacket spoke with a trembling voice. Yes. Uncle, when the grain is gone, it can be planted again, and when the people are gone, they are gone. Let's give them food, otherwise we can only wait for death here. Others agreed. It was agreed that it was better to send away these plagues with food. Otherwise, it is really a small life. Naturally, food cannot be more important than one's own life. Even if the thugs did not keep their promises and robbed them of all their food, they could also go to official shelters in Yongsan County. After all, the official shelter of Yongsan County is not as unlucky as the official shelter of Shanghai City, which was affected by the explosion of giant meteorite fragments. The damage was not serious, and the damage was not very large. At present, there is still the ability to receive people. However, not everyone is so naive. A tall woman wearing a white cardigan spoke up. Uncle, I don't think the door can be opened. We can't take chances. There is nothing to believe in the words of those thugs. If we open the door without the metal gate, we will have to let them slaughter. Those thugs will absolutely kill us and prevent us from finding the enforcers of the official shelter in Yongsan County. As soon as her words came out, the faces of the people who spoke in front suddenly became ugly. After all, they were the ones she said was holding a flute mentality. Maybe you can't hang on your face. A middle-aged man wearing a mint coat directly opened his mouth and scolded angrily. Wen Qian, you don't want to mess around here. What do children know? If we don't open the door, will we just sit and wait for death? Those people have guns in their hands. I am just talking about things. Wen Qian's brows furrowed and replied. Then, his eyes looked at Wen and asked, Uncle, what do you think we are going to do? Wen is the principal of the shelter. With Wen Qian's question, everyone's eyes in the shelter were focused on him. Feeling this pressure, Wen was silent, but he was always unsure of paying attention. If the door is not opened, the iron gate can only last for another hour at most, when the thugs will break into the door. Open the door. The words of those thugs are obviously not so reliable. In case of repentance, they still have to die. Just when Wen hesitated. Now. The gun-wielding thugs outside were already a little impatient. Boom. 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 The rapid hammer knocking sounded continuously. The large metal iron gate is deformed little by little. Although it could not be broken for a while, the gradually deformed metal iron door brought a great pressure. It was as if death was approaching. In the simple shelter, except for Wen and the imperial sister named Wen Qian, the fear on the faces of the others became stronger and stronger. As if some string in his brain had broken, the young man in the down jacket couldn't help shouting and pleading. Uncle, give it to them. Open the door and send them 300 pounds of grain, and let these people hurry up, otherwise we will die. As he spoke, there was a hint of crying in his voice. Hearing this, Wen Qian gritted her teeth and spoke, No. When we open the door, we are really dead, and we fight with them. What a spell. They have guns, how can we possibly beat those vicious thugs? The vast majority retorted. To resist is to die. They don't want to fight the thugs. As successful people who are pampered in peacetime, they are very desperate. Nothing is as important as your own life. Seeing this, Wen also sighed helplessly, since no one in the shelter was willing to desperately. There was obviously only one choice left. Open the door. Now we can only hope that the thugs will talk about credibility and not kill people. Otherwise. Hearing Wen's decision, most of the faces in the shelters showed a hint of joy. Uncle, it's long overdue! Some grain is just that, there is nothing to grow again, where our lives matter. Yes. If we don't open the door, when they break the door and come in, we will all die. Open. I'll open the door now. Under the threat of life and death, they lost their usual sanity and grabbed the life-saving straw thrown by the thugs outside the door. As for whether it is true or not, their brains have automatically blocked this question. Don't smash the big brother outside the door. We'll open the door and give you supplies. The young man in the down jacket immediately ran to the door and shouted outside. There was a hint of joy in his tone. It seems to be thought that the thugs will keep their promises. Outside the metal iron door. The bald man who was directing his subordinates to continue to smash the door heard these words, and a trace of ecstasy appeared in his fierce eyes. This group of fools actually believed his words. It seems that today's work can be much easier. Ha ha ha. These people really have no brains. They won't be mentally retarded. Do they believe in this kind of words? Is it really that my acting skills are so good? Ecstasy in the heart. The bald man gave himself a code word to get ready. Then he said loudly to the inside. Good. As long as you open the door and give us 300 pounds of grain, we will definitely not hurt you a single hair. Thank your big brother for your mercy. We believe that big people like you will not lie to us. Inside the metal iron door, the young man in the down jacket who had completed the negotiation with the bald man showed a smug look on his face, as if he thought that he was a great hero in saving the shelter, and quickly turned back to the others in the shelter and said, hurry up and get 300 cattas of grain. As long as we hand over 300 cattas of grain, we will be saved. Don't open. When Keon's face turned pale and tried the final dissuasion. However, useless. Everyone ignored him and quickly took out 300 cattas of grain from the storage room. Open the door. As soon as the grain is handed over, it will all be over, and we will not have to worry about it anymore. People in the mixed road are the most particular about spitting a nail and will not lie to us, the young man in the down jacket said loudly. Then, all the locks on the metal iron door opened. The door is opened. In the next second, a large knife fell on his head. Blood splattered. In an instant, the simple shelter was plunged into blood. The waiting, the pleas for mercy, were endless. Chapter 40. Tracking down the intruder. On the stairway between the 6th and 7th floors, Li Hao is walking up with a few clones. What smell? While walking, Li Hao suddenly frowned. Just now, on the 5th stairway, he faintly felt a strange smell. Now that I go to the 6th floor, the smell seems to be even more pronounced. Faintly, it gives a rancid feeling. Boss, this should be blood, the taste of a large amount of blood after a long period of oxidation in the air. It seems to be coming from the 8th floor. No. One on the side sniffed carefully and said, LOS, blood. It was still from the 8th floor. Li Hao frowned. It wouldn't be such a coincidence, would it? Could it be? Guessing in his heart, Li Hao quickened his pace and walked towards the 8th floor. A minute later, Li Hao entered the 8th floor and immediately saw the source of the odor. It was the blood that flowed down the hallway. The blood was already semi-solidified and emitted a foul smell. And the source of this blood is room 811. Open the somewhat deformed metal iron door. Room 811. Li Hao walked in with a few clone warriors. The scenes inside are all in Li Hao's eyes. Corpse. Bodies all over the ground. And every death is extremely tragic. There are several headless corpses. It seems that the person who contacted me on the internet before has also died. Seeing this terrifying scene, Li Hao's face was also a little ugly. Finally, find a trader. As long as this transaction is completed, he can complete the task of vegetable seed collection. Who would have thought that such a situation would occur? Boss, there's another breathing one here. Suddenly, no. One pointed to the female corpse wearing a white cardigan next to the sofa and spoke. Still alive. Li Hao's eyes lit up. Walked over and took a look. Li Hao found that the woman also seemed to be close to death, almost unsaved. His stomach was cut with a large mouth, his breathing was extremely weak, and he muttered unconsciously though he didn't know what to say. Number 1 brought his ear close to the woman's mouth. Then he said to Li Hao, she seems to be saying don't open the door. Don't open the door. It seems that the door of the simple shelter may have been tricked open. After pondering, Li Hao also had a speculation in his heart. It is clear that the intruder used some kind of blunt object to force open the metal gate, and the deformation of the metal door is proof of this. However, the hardness of this metal gate is obviously somewhat unexpected by the intruder. Even if you use iron, it is difficult to blast away in a short time. As a result, the intruders also changed their methods. I don't know what those intruders said, but they made the people of the shelter disagree, and open the door of this refuge themselves, which caused such a tragedy. The general context should be like this, and in the end the target of those invaders should be the material. All the supplies for this shelter are gone, including the vegetable seeds that I want to make an agreement to trade with a contact. Checking the inside and outside of the shelter and not finding the 3 vegetable seeds he wanted, Li Hao was also a little depressed. It seems that the trip has come for nothing. Walking out of the door of room 811, Li Hao looked at No. One who came out with him, as if remembering something, and his eyes lit up. Number 1. Can you track down the intruder who killed room 811? As a combat clone with the top special forces combat skills, no. One's tracking skills should also be full. If he could track down those invaders, his vegetable seed collection mission would have any hope of being completed. Otherwise, you really have to drive home. Yes. Looking carefully at the traces near the corridor, no. One nodded. These people have no sense of anti-tracking at all, and the traces left behind are simply not too obvious. Catch up immediately. Li Hao's face showed a hint of excitement. Another village. Under the tactical tracking skills of No. 1. Li Hao and others walked all the way out of Unit 9 access to an underground car park. Follow that passage all the way to the -2 floors of the underground parking lot. Li Hao found a group of people led by a bald man moving things toward a pickup truck. Several of them also had heavy hammers in their hands. It seems to be this group of people. The heavy hammer broke through the door, which was exactly the same as the marks on the metal door of room 811 of Unit 9 before. There can be no such coincidence in the world. These people are obviously the culprits in the massacre in room 811 of Unit 9. The things carried by these people were apparently scavenged from room 811 of Unit 9, and just as Li Hao discovered them, these people also discovered Li Hao. What man? They were shocked in their hearts, and they still had time to speak. Li Hao decisively ordered several clone warriors to shoot. Bang! 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 4 M19 assault rifles spat out a flurry of tons of fire. Deadly bullets continued to burst out of it. In the blink of an eye, 7 people on the opposite side fell. Everyone's face was full of confusion and horror, as if they could not imagine that they died so suddenly. Find cover. Awakened by this string of gunshots, the other thugs quickly hid behind the load-bearing column in the underground parking lot. Grass. Where did the turtle grandson dare to sneak up on us? Seeing that his subordinates were killed 7 people at once, the bald man was also furious, and raised the shotgun in his hand to shoot at Li Hao and others. However, it is not much of a bird. The gap in equipment between the two sides is too large. The bald man's shotgun is at most stronger than a pistol, but it can't be compared with a sniper rifle, and such a low power can't even break the radiation-proof life support suits of Li Hao and others. The M19 assault rifle in the hands of Li Hao and others can easily open a big hole in him. Discovering this problem, the bald man suddenly cursed secretly in his heart. Wow, it's too bully and how else to fight this? Chapter 41 Chasing and Killing. Since shotguns are not good, then try to change to a big knife and an axe. I can't do it. The equipment on these people can really be invulnerable. The bald man gritted his teeth. Throw weapons and smash them. Hearing the boss's order, the other thugs who were still alive also found the backbone of the main heart, and quickly threw the big knife and axe in their hands towards Li Hao and the others. However, it is of little use. Even if these weapons hit Li Hao, they could only slightly hinder their movements at most, and they could not break through the superfiber material on the surface of the new radiation-proof life support suit. And Li Hao is even less so. Several clone warriors protect him in the center, and these gadgets will not hurt him at all. On the contrary, the bald man's men counterattacked chaotically, and the moment his figure leaned out of the cover, he was shot and killed by Li Hao and others. Withdraw. Take the trolls and sledgehammers from the car and withdraw to the emergency staircase passage. I have a way to deal with them. Seeing Li Hao, they pushed towards this side without any scruples, and the bald man did not hesitate, and immediately turned his head and ran towards the truck. Although he looks like a reckless man, he can actually be the boss, and his brain will naturally not be inflexible. After the tentative attack just now, he was not without gains. He found that the equipment of Li Hao and others was indeed invulnerable, but it would still be affected by some impact. As long as the impact is strong enough, it can shock and even kill them. In other words, the use of sledgehammers and trolls as powerful impact weapons is currently the best option. It's just that the attack range of these weapons is too short, and it is difficult to hit Li Hao and others who are holding rifles. For example, the emergency staircase is the battlefield he chooses. In such a narrow environment, the role of firearms such as rifles is greatly weakened, so that he can have a chance to fight back. As long as these people are killed, these awesome equipment will be labor-owned. A hint of greed flashed in the bald man's eyes. With this batch of powerful and invulnerable equipment, the combat effectiveness of his forces has definitely skyrocketed. At that time, when the entire Yongsan County can't stop him. At that time, he will be the sole emperor and uncrowned king of Yongsan County. After sacrificing 3 more people and getting the trolls and hammers on the truck, the bald man fled into the emergency staircase with the remaining 10 or so men. Seeing this, Li Hao's brows frowned slightly. This narrow terrain was obviously very unfavorable to them. Suddenly, as if thinking of some good idea, Li Hao smiled lightly, and asked a few clone warriors to take a few corpses on the ground and stride into the emergency staircase. The turn of the emergency staircase walkway. The bald man and the remaining younger brother held their breath with earthen trolls and large hammers, staring at the corner below the stairs, weapons ready to strike. Suddenly, several black shadows came out from around the corner. Attack. Several people pulled the trigger directly. Several other people also used all their strength to smash the iron hammer in their hands down. Bang. 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 Shots roared, hammers flew out in an instant. Those few black shadows were beaten into a sieve. Even one head was smashed with a large hammer. Grass. Those few were not enemies, but just sat in their corpses. After a round of offensive, several people saw what their attack target looked like. It was not their imaginary enemy, but the corpse of their companion. Hide. Seeing this, as if thinking of something, the bald man's face changed greatly. However, late. Throwing away the shield of the corpse that had been beaten in his hand, the bodies of Li Hao and the others were suddenly revealed. Raise the M19 assault rifle. Pull the trigger. Bang. 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 Tongues of fire spewed and bullets flew wildly. No need to aim at all. In such a narrow tunnel, there is simply nowhere to hide. Several of the frontline thugs were immediately blocked. The blood on his body was splattered, and he was directly beaten to pieces. Except for those who fell to the ground and died on the spot, the others lay on the ground waiting and struggling to die. However, with a but for these people, the bald man saw that the opportunity was not good, and immediately ran upstairs with the other subordinates. Seeing this, Li Hao immediately chased after him with a few clone warriors. Cutting grass and rooting is his principle all along. He didn't want to leave himself behind. However, when Li Hao and the others crossed the corpses, ready to continue the pursuit, a blood-covered corpse suddenly came to life, and the earthen trolls in his hands were aimed at Li Hao and others. He slowly pulled the trigger, a smug smile on his face. Just when he thought he was about to succeed in fighting back. Bang! As soon as a gunshot rang out, his expression instantly froze, and his eyes were full of unwillingness. His hands hung weakly, and the earthen trolls in his hands fell to the ground. If you want to crash and die in front of a group of clone warriors whose combat skills are comparable to top special forces, you are simply looking for death yourself. Ignoring the movement behind, Li Hao smiled lightly, took a few clone warriors without looking back, and continued to chase upward. Including the bald man, there were about 6 others. None of these people can be spared. Get out of the emergency staircase passage. The bald man and his men had disappeared. Seeing this, Li Hao did not panic at all, and said to No. 1. Continue to track and find out the escape route of those people. Those people fled in such a hurry, and the traces left behind were extremely obvious in front of No. 1. In a matter of seconds, No. 1 easily found the escape route of the group. The group appeared to have fled to a 15-unit building 50 meters away from the underground parking lot. Catch up. Following the traces left by the thugs' escape, Li Hao ran up the stairs of the 15th unit building with a few clone warriors. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelas. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 42 Death Steps. There were footsteps in the old stairway. One of his subordinates heard the movement and hurriedly came over to report. Hearing this, a trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the bald man who was resting in a room on the 5th floor of Unit 15, and he cursed angrily. Grass. There are no residents in this building at all, and the footsteps must be those guys who can't get into the gun. What means do these guys use? This can catch up, it's really fucking haunted. We didn't provoke him, why are these guys chasing us down? Could it be that in the shelter I recently robbed, there are relatives of these people? The bald man vented the fear in his heart with words. Thinking of Li Hao's previous scene of killing all sides, the bald man felt that his lower body was a little peeing. This group of people is too perverted. Killing them is as easy as killing chickens. As the boss, the bald man is still like this, let alone the younger brother below. Hearing Li Hao and others chasing them, the fear in their hearts was almost on their faces. The body is still trembling. Silence for a moment. One of his subordinates, with a trembling voice, suggested. Old boss, it's better for us to surrender. If this continues, we will not be able to escape at all, and we will die. Those guys are so well equipped, they're invulnerable in protective clothing, maybe they're secret weapons developed by the authorities, and those people may be official law enforcers, because our murder and robbery are known by them, so they have targeted us. If those people are really the enforcers of the official shelter, as long as we surrender, they shouldn't kill us, right? Each of his subordinates was pale, and did not have the slightest will to fight with Li Hao and the others. Such an opponent is too desperate. Even if you try hard, you can't hurt a single hair. Seeing this, the bald man immediately slapped his subordinates in the face and cursed angrily. Are you brain dead? If these people are really the enforcers of the official shelter, we will surrender. Just what we did before. 100 shots is not enough. Those who want to live cheer up the spirit of labor and management, and those who want to die, labor and management will give you a right now. The bald man said with a fierce face. After this slap, several subordinates also knew that the boss was right, and immediately forced to fight and prepare to fight with Li Hao and others. Hold to the stairs on the 5th floor, don't rush, prepare the earth bomb you made earlier, I'll talk to those people first. Reluctantly calming down, the bald man opened his mouth and ordered his subordinates. At this moment, the footsteps of Li Hao and others are getting closer and closer. Listening to the voice, it seems to have walked to the stairway between the 4th and 5th floors. It was almost close to them. Knowing this, the bald man gestured to his subordinates and asked them to stare at the staircase on the 5th floor, and must not lead anyone past. Then he took a deep breath and said loudly, "A few friends in the stairs, can you listen to me first? Behind the staircase on the 5th floor." The bald man's voice, "No." One did not need to continue to track the traces, and directly locked the approximate location of the bald man. Prepare to fight, saw them all at once. Ignoring the bald man's meaning, Li Hao continued to move forward with a few clone warriors, quickly approaching the 5th floor. Dear friends, you don't have a big grudge. Even if you have a grudge, you should be discouraged after killing so many of our brothers. Be a person and leave a line, and see each other in the future. Whatever you want, women, food, or other things, I can give you everything, as long as you let us live. Hearing the footsteps without the slightest intention of stopping, the bald man was covered in cold sweat and continued to speak. To him, these footsteps were simply the steps of death. Just by listening, he felt the urge to pee his pants. Therefore, he simply chose to admit it. After all, you really can't beat it. In the absence of any certainty that you can win, it is natural to choose to admit defeat and save your life. Only by living can you have a chance to make a comeback. Li Hao and the others came to the entrance of the stairs on the 5th floor. According to the location previously confirmed by No. 1, there is now only a wall between the two sides. It is not clear what arrangement the bald man has. Li Hao is not greedy and aggressive, and said loudly, "It's no problem to let you live, as long as you put down your weapons and become our prisoner. A few friends, everyone is not a fool. It is impossible to lay down your arms. You better change the conditions." The bald man immediately voted. Put down the weapon. It can really only be used as meat on someone else's knife board, and let others slaughter. Naturally, it was impossible for him to agree to such outrageous conditions. Put your little life in the hands of Li Hao and others. Then forget it. You all go and die. Li Hao said in a calm tone. Don't mind friends. In addition to putting down the weapon, other requirements for you to mention. Chang Filon can also be regarded as a figure with a head and a face in Qingshan County, and I can easily get weapons and beautiful women for you, as long as you let us go. The bald man hurriedly spoke. Hearing this, Li Hao smiled and said, I have these things you said, I need you to give them. Laying down your arms is your only way to survive. Weapons, he can easily create any weapon with a super 3D printer. As for the beauties. With a current doomsday environment, if he has a heart, what kind of beauty cannot be found? Why should a friend who thinks so well? Are you really afraid that we will break the net with you? The bald man's face twitched, and he gritted his teeth and said. There was a hint of threat in his tone. Huh. There is a lot of nonsense. Although you have any means, you fish will surely die, but the neck may not be broken. You guys still have 30 seconds to think about it. Li Hao sneered and said deliberately. Sure enough. The bald man's side suddenly quieted down, as if he was struggling to consider. Seeing this, Li Hao asked 2 clone warriors to guard here. He quietly walked down the stairs with No. 1 towards the 6th floor. It doesn't take much time to walk up the stairs on this floor. Soon, Li Hao and No. 1 quietly walked into the corridor on the 6th floor. Take out a mirror and lean out and look down 45 degrees. Under the principle of light reflection, the scene at the entrance of the stairs on the 5th floor below is reflected on a mirror. Li Hao easily saw all the actions of the bald man and the others. Chapter 43 Dropping Rope Raid. Dead End. There were 7 people at the entrance of the stairs on the 5th floor. Everyone was holding earthen trolls and gathered around a staircase that was aimed at the entrance to and from the 5th floor. And their boss, the bald man, seemed to be whispering something to the 2 little brothers beside him. I saw the 2 little brothers put the earthen trolls on the ground, took out 2 black boxes tied with tape and connected the red and blue wires from the backpacks behind them, and made a throwing posture at the entrance of the stairs. What is that? Li Hao's brows frowned slightly, a little puzzled. It seems that these black boxes are likely to be the bald man's last strength. However, what exactly are in those black boxes? After thinking about it, Li Hao quickly flicked through his memories, trying to find something corresponding to it. Tape, red and blue wires, black boxes. Suddenly, Li Hao thought of something. Homemade bombs. The method of making this bomb is extremely simple. Even middle school students can learn it. And the power of the explosion is also quite terrifying. He had read in the news that a student at a middle school in Zhejiang had made a remote-controlled earth bomb that bombed the school, causing many casualties. Understanding the power of homemade bombs, Li Hao made some changes to his original plan. Now. 5th floor. This friend, many friends and many paths. Why do you have to persecute us so hard? Isn't it okay for everyone to watch and help each other? Thinking that he was fully prepared, the bald man was also a lot tougher. However, Li Hao didn't bother with the bald man's meaning at all. Instead, he turned around and walked into the room on the 6th floor, looking for something. Look around. The room was full of garbage. Power strips, trash cans, chairs, tables. There was no food. Apparently the owner of the house took it with him when he left. However, Li Hao didn't care, and what he was looking for was not food. Circled this house. Suddenly, Li Hao stopped in front of a locker. This locker is stocked with some of the tools needed to deal with a fire. Such as fire extinguishers, fire escape ropes, etc. It can be described as very complete. Finally found it. Opening the locker, Li Hao took out the fire escape rope from it. This is a specially made rope to escape from a height in the event of a fire, and it is extremely tough. Now it is used for repelling raids, but it is just right. Giving the fire escape rope to no one, Li Hao spoke out his plan. Then, another person walked to the 5th floor and led the other clones to the staircase on the 5th floor. Hearing the footsteps of Li Hao and the others slowly approaching, the bald men all had fierce faces and fierce eyes. Obviously, Li Hao did not want to agree to their conditions, but chose to eliminate them. When they come out to mix, they don't even kill and set fire, so naturally it is impossible to tie up and sit still. As the footsteps of Li Hao and the others got closer and closer, they silently raised their weapons and aimed them all at the staircase. Just when the bald man and several people were all attracted to the entrance of the 5th staircase, they did not notice that a figure with an M19 assault rifle slowly descended from the rope hanging from the upper floor. The process didn't even make the slightest sound. The next moment, bang, bang, bang. A series of tons of fire spat out, directly shattering the glass on the 5th floor, and the rain of bullets covered the bald man and the others. Among them, the two thug brothers with homemade bombs in their hands were the two little brothers who were cared for. In an instant, there were 8 or 9 more blood holes on those two little brothers, and they fell to the ground with white eyes in disbelief. And the others were no better. The wave of abseiling rays on the first completely blinded them. The rhythm that had been stuck at the entrance of the stairs on the 5th floor was completely disrupted. Under the fire of no one, he retreated behind the concrete fence of the corridor. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Li Hao quickly rushed out of the stairs with a few clone warriors and entered the corridor. Grass. Fire them and force them back into the stairs, or we'll all die when they rush in. Seeing Li Hao and others rushing in so easily, the bald man hiding under the cement fence couldn't help but scold angrily. Hearing this, several younger surviving brothers also quickly picked up earthen trolls and shot at Li Hao and others. Crackling, it's a random shot. However, in this rain of bullets, Li Hao and others were completely unscathed, and at most took a step back when hit by steel bullets. The accuracy and power of this homemade trolls are not comparable to real shotguns. After a random shot, the bullets fired did not know where to fly. Only a small part hit Li Hao and others. After air resistance, the power of the steel bullet also decreases greatly. Unless the range is within 3 meters, these steel bullets hit Li Hao and others' radiation-proof life support suits without breaking the defense. Opposite. Seizing the opportunity for the thugs to lean out of the cover, several clone warriors opened fire. Bang. Bang. 2 more thugs were shot in the head and fell unwillingly to the ground. Aben, Kwang. The bald man's face was livid. He roared angrily, and fought back with the last 2 little brothers. However, the gap in equipment between the 2 sides is so large. It is obviously impossible to compete with Li Hao and others with a few slow-loading earthen trolls. Li Hao and others ignored the bullets fired by the earthen trolls, and opened fire while advancing rapidly, forming a crossfire network, and the bald men who directly hit could only hide behind a cement fence and did not dare to show their heads. After some bullets poured out, the last 2 of the bald man's men were also shot. I surrender, I promise you the terms, lay down your arms. Seeing that all his subordinates had been killed, knowing that he had no hope of turning over, the bald man suddenly gave up the struggle and hurriedly shouted. In order to show his sincerity, he even threw out the earthen trolls in his hand. You promised too late. I do not accept your surrender. Li Hao said lightly. The enemy who does is undoubtedly the most qualified enemy. Although the probability that the bald man can pose a big threat to him is very low, he still will not choose to let the tiger return to the mountain and let a person who was hostile to him continue to live. Chapter 44 Black Eats Black. Hearing Li Hao's words, the bald man behind the cement fence suddenly fell silent. Li Hao and a few clone warriors continued to stride closer to where the bald man was. Just as Li Hao and others approached the cement fence. Since labor and management are not given a way to live, labor and management will pull you to die together. The bald man suddenly rushed out from the cement fence. His face was extremely hideous, and he was still holding a black box in his hand. That's a homemade bomb. It is clear that he wants to use this homemade bomb to die with Li Hao and others. With this homemade bomb, the bald man rushed directly towards the clone warrior walking in the front. However, he had just approached a meter in front of the clone warrior before he could press the start button of the homemade bomb. The clone warrior simply kicked out with a neat kick. Under majestic power. This kick came out, bringing a violent whistling sound right in the chest of the bald man. Bang. It is like a heavy hammer bombardment. The bald man was directly kicked several meters away, his mouth sprayed with blood, and his ribs on his chest were completely broken. The homemade bomb in his hand also flew out directly. The next moment, the clone warrior did not give the bald man any chance to fight back, and simply raised the assault rifle in his hand and gave him a peanut rice. If you want to die together, you don't have the qualification. Looking at the bald man's unwilling eyes, Li Hao said lightly. The clone warrior's combat skills are all-round powerful. Even if you throw away the guns, the clone warrior's actual combat ability is the top. A thug who has no military training and wants to get close is asking for his own death. The battle is over. Li Hao asks no one to clean up the battlefield with a few clone warriors and men knives for the thugs who are not yet completely dead. Prevent people from playing dead and fleeing. After confirming that all the thugs have lost signs of life, Li Hao leads the clone warriors towards the underground parking lot. Be ready to receive the spoils of this battle. Return to the -2 floor of the underground car park. The truck full of supplies is still there. Get in. Take stock of all the supplies. Nearly 1,000 kilograms of rice, dozens of boxes of canned food, drinks, and some scattered daily necessities and sundries. It seems that there are quite a lot of supplies. The radiation-proof snowmobile he drove over could not be loaded. After all, who would have predicted that an ordinary vegetable seed trade would turn out like this, and so many supplies were captured. Since the radiation-proof snowmobile can't be loaded, let's just drive this pickup truck back. It just so happens that the shelter still lacks a medium-sized delivery vehicle. Radiation-proof snowmobiles can only carry up to 600 kilograms of materials. Although the nuclear battery heavy-duty truck can carry tens of tons of materials, it is too large and bulky. Usually carrying several tons of materials, it is obviously not suitable to use this nuclear battery to carry heavy trucks. Therefore, this modified pickup truck with a load of 8 tons just makes up for the lack of medium-sized vehicles in the shelter. After making a treatment plan, Li Hao no longer paid attention to these materials. After all, the shelter is now not short of food and living materials, and it will be self-sufficient in the future. Bringing these supplies back is the icing on the cake. It doesn't do much. He has more important things to do now. Turning his gaze to the debris pile of truck boxes, Li Hao began to look for what he needed. After rummaging through the clutter pile, Li Hao had a smile on his face. Got it. That's a big bag of vegetable seeds. The 3 vegetable seeds he needs be in this. Open it. Li Hao quickly found the 3 vegetable seeds. With these 3 vegetable seeds, the system task of vegetable seed collection is completed. Holding these 3 vegetable seeds in his hand, Li Hao immediately showed a satisfied smile on his face. But am I black eating black? After thinking about it, Li Hao's face was a little strange. After all, these thugs killed the traitors with whom he had made an agreement. And he killed the thugs and indirectly got all the supplies of the dead traitors. The vegetable seeds that were supposed to be traded went around in a big circle and went directly to his hands. More food and necessities are also included. Of course, Li Hao is not the virgin. The idea just flashed through his mind. These thugs killed people and plundered materials, and he was not instructed by him, so he naturally did not have any psychological burden on this. Instead, he avenged the traitor who contacted him. These materials are all his trophies, and they will not be taken for nothing. Put the vegetable seeds back in your hand in this large bag. Since the purpose of this trip has been successfully accomplished, it is time to go back. Holding a bag of vegetable seeds, Li Hao walked out of the cargo box and closed the door of the pickup truck. Let a clone warrior drive the small truck. Li Hao returns to the radiation-proof snowmobile with the other clone warriors and sets out on their way home. Chapter 45 Biological Gene Editing Station. Snowflakes flew and they came. When I went back, the wind was calm. In such rare good weather, the speed of radiation-proof snowmobiles is also much faster than when they came. All the way. There were no people who blocked the way and rocked, and there were no other changes. Return from the highway to the outskirts of Shanghai City's East District. Li Hao returned to his sanctuary. Drive radiation-resistant snowmobiles and pickups into underground garages. Li Hao and several clones took all the games from this trip to the storage room of the shelter to sort them out. Take off your radiation protection support suit and special body armor. Li Hao, who had been busy all day, cooked a bowl of noodles for himself the first time as a late-night snack for dinner. After filling his internal organs, Li Hao began to process the hardest of the trip. There is no need to talk about food, drinks, and other icing on the cake. The most important thing is the black technology rewards obtained for completing system tasks. Taking the 3 vegetable seeds back to the sanctuary, he had already collected 101 different vegetable seeds in his hands. More than 100 kinds of vegetable seeds required for vegetable seed collection. Open the inventory. Sure enough, vegetable seed collection, a reward for completing the task, has arrived. It was a boxy-looking, extremely sophisticated black instrument. Biological gene editing desk owner. Li Hao currently has bioengineering drawings. An introduction. A certain biotechnology creation, containing quite efficient biological gene editing technology, can freely synthesize and edit all kinds of biological genes, only need to provide bioengineering drawings, can directly manufacture and synthesize most of the bioengineering creations and gene technology products. Free editing of biological genes. Li Hao's pupil shrank. Even if he is just an ordinary person who only knows some common sense about biology, he also knows how difficult it is to freely edit biological genes. I am afraid that no one or country in the world can do it. This level of biogenetic technology should not be a problem for manufacturing gene agents and gene chips, right? As if thinking of something, Li Hao's eyes lit up. If he was right, the value and importance of this biological gene editing table was not at all under the super 3D printer bed worth 300,000 points that he had purchased with a discount of 1% off them all before. In other words, this thing should be a copy of the super 3D printer bed, just for industry, is the core of industrial manufacturing. One is suitable for biological genes, is the core of biological manufacturing. As long as there are bioengineering drawings, whether it is gene chips, gene agents, and genetic organisms that can spray plasma in the mouth, they can be easily manufactured using the biological gene editing table. Thinking of the gene chips that can control human thinking in science fiction movies and the gene agents that can strengthen human functions to the genetic limit, Li Hao's heart is suddenly hot. After opening the Doomsday Tech Mall of the system, Li Hao immediately began to look for relevant bioengineering drawings. A while of sifting, Li Hao quickly found him gold. Biological thinking control chip drawing. Planet-level biogenetic potion drawings. Biological thinking control chip drawing introduction. The bioengineering drawings derived from genetic thinking engineering are extremely inexpensive and can quietly and permanently tamper with the thinking that controls most carbon-based life. Price: 568,000 points. Planet-level biological gene agent drawing introduction. Bioengineering drawings derived from genetic transcendence engineering. Taking this planet-level biological gene agent, low-level carbon-based life will undergo a superlife transition and become planet-level life. Note: life is as long as 10,000 years, and one blow is enough to smash the continental shelf. Price: 999,000 points. It's really scary. Unfortunately, it's too expensive. Looking at these two awesome goods, Li Hao couldn't help but sigh a little, shook his head, and died for the time being. Although he wanted both of them. But wallet really does not allow hundreds of thousands of points at every turn. For a long time to come, it will be difficult for him to scrape together so many points. Out of sight, out of heart. Excluding all these high-grade goods, Li Hao sifts again, selects bioengineering drawings, and pulls them to the bottom. Only then did he finally find a biogenetic technology product that he can currently afford. Low-level microchip drawings. Low-level gene potion drawings. These two items are super low-end versions of the previous two high-end goods. It's in the same vein. Low-level gene chip drawing introduction. Bioengineering drawings derived from biogenetic engineering, after implantation, can monitor and control a target. Once the target has an adverse action on the chip owner, the chip will automatically release the biological current, interrupt its nerve control over the body, so that the target is instantly paralyzed. Price: 10,000 points. Drawings of low-grade gene agents in production. Bioengineering drawings derived from genetic evolution engineering. Taking this gene agent, can completely stimulate the gene potential of low-level carbon-based life and push the body function to the genetic limit. Price: 21,900 points. Sure enough, the more high-tech things are, the more expensive they are, and I still have to wait 2 more days to buy these two lowest-grade bioengineering commodities. A wry smile appeared on Li Hao's face. He now only has 9,100 points. Even low-level gene chip drawings cannot be bought. As for the low-level gene potions, the points lacking are even more. Let's buy low-grade gene chip drawings first! The points required for the drawings of low-grade gene potions are a bit different, and I don't urgently need low-grade gene potions, so it doesn't matter if I buy them later. Li Hao pondered silently. These two things, he will definitely buy. It's just a matter of priority. For now, it is most appropriate to buy low-level gene chip drawings first. Both from an integral point of view and from a practical point of view. After all, he is not short of force at the moment. No matter how effective the low-grade genetic potion is, it is impossible for people to become superhumans and resist bullets. Low-level gene chip drawings are much more practical. Being able to help and control other people. You know, the apocalypse is ill-willed. Although he took in the three sisters of Shazuki, he did not think that the three sisters of Shazuki could pose any big threat to him, but it was good to be able to take another insurance. As long as this low-level gene chip is implanted, the implanter can no longer disadvantage him. In this way, he can also be completely relieved. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to truly accept the three sisters of Shazuki in his heart. It is for this reason that it is precisely for this reason. Even if they got along these days, Shaozushi, one of the three sisters of the Shao family, had vaguely expressed good feelings for him, but he did not accept it, or pretended to turn a blind eye. That's it. Li Hao nodded in satisfaction. In the aftermath of the global catastrophe, he felt insecure and had a hard time trusting others. This low-level gene chip solved his trust problem with others. Chapter 46 Injury, Medicinal Wine Massage. After making a decision, Li Hao closed the system store. At present, the points in his hand are still a little short of the points needed to buy low-level gene chip drawings. You also need to wait a day or two before you can buy it. Holding back the urgency, Li Hao sat down on the sofa in the living room to rest. However, this one sits down. He suddenly found that there was a sharp pain in many places all over his body. Hands, lower abdomen, back. Pulling his clothes away, Li Hao saw bruises on the part where he felt severe pain. It seems that the power of the soulmate trolls used by those thugs before is still somewhat powerful. Although I failed to break the dual defense of the new version of radiation protection life support suit and special body armor, some of the impact force was still transmitted to me. Li Hao smiled wryly. However, there are a few clone warriors guarding him, and there are not many steel bullets that hit him. There are only a few. At a rough glance, Li Hao only found 4 bruises. However, these 4 bruises were quite painful at every moment, as if the muscle tissue had been torn apart. The reason why he didn't feel it before was obviously because he had been preoccupied with other things, and his brain automatically ignored these injuries. It wasn't until he was now free and sat down on the sofa to touch the wound that he suddenly realized that he was injured. Fortunately, they are all some skin trauma. Just massage it well with blood revitalizing medicinal wine, and it should be eliminated in a few days. Thinking so, Li Hao got up from the sofa and walked towards the medical room. Of course, the medical room is actually a small room for storing medicines and medical supplies. It was stocked with some of the regular medicines he had purchased before the end of the world. Finding out what he needed, Li Hao returned to the living room and sat down, ready to rub himself with the medicinal wine. Open the cap of the liquor bottle. Li Hao poured the medicinal wine into his hand and rubbed it on the bruised area. Hiss. The moment the medicinal wine was rubbed down, Li Hao couldn't help but gasp. It hurts too much. It's so exciting. The blood revitalizing liquor is rubbed on the bruised area, making people feel like they are being burnt by fire. Slow down. Slowly adapt to the feeling. Just as Li Hao was about to continue massaging the bruised area with blood revitalizing liquor. What's wrong with you? How did you get so hurt? At this moment, Shaozushi came from the corridor in her pajamas and said. Looking at Li Hao's gaze, there was a hint of worry and distress. Obviously, Shaozushi was attracted by Li Hao's inhalation just now. It's okay. When I went to trade with netizens, I met a group of thugs and hit a fight. I've disposed of them all. Li Hao said lightly. Hearing this, Shaozushi didn't say anything more. She knew that things would definitely not be as easy as Li Hao said. But since Li Hao didn't want to explain more, she didn't ask. It's just that the worry in her eyes when she looks at Li Hao is stronger. Can't help but stretch out a green white finger and touch Li Hao's bruised wound. SHHH. Don't move. Li Hao gasped and quickly reached out to take Shazushi's little green onion hand away. It's so late, you better hurry back to your room and sleep. Saying that, Li Hao continued to pour medicinal wine and wipe his wounds. However, the front hands, lower abdomen and other parts are good to say, but the bruise on the back is really difficult to wipe. There is no force at all. Let me help you. At this moment, Shaozushi, who had been standing by and quietly watching Li Hao, walked over and sat on the sofa next to Li Hao. A faint fragrance came to the nose. Thank you. With a warm heart, Li Hao handed over the medicinal wine in his hand. You're welcome. After all, if you hadn't taken anything, my two sisters and I would have died outside. Taking the blood revitalizing medicinal wine, Zhao Zushi poured it on her hand and carefully massaged Li Hao's back. Shhh. Tap, tap again. Li Hao suddenly couldn't stand it. The bruises on the back of this place were particularly large, and the pain of the medicinal wine wipe was at least several times more than the previous 3 ones. Even if he was mentally prepared in advance, he still couldn't help but gasp. 5 minutes later. After some tossing, I finally massaged all the bruised areas. Putting the cap on the bottle of blood vitalizing medicinal wine, Zhao Zushi spoke. The bruises on your body are a little serious. It will take at least a week to disappear, and you should pay attention to rest recently. Got it. Unexpectedly, you're still a doctor. Feeling Zhao Zushi's concern, Li Hao couldn't help but quip. I don't go to the doctor. When I was in middle school, Big Sister was very active, and she often twisted her feet in bruises, and I helped her massage with blood revitalizing medicinal wine, and over time, she had a little experience in dealing with bruises and scars. Hearing Li Hao's joke, Zhao Zushi's face turned slightly red and she explained. After experiencing the skin kiss just now, the relationship between the two sides seems to have become a lot closer. Another small talk. It's not early, you go back to sleep early! Yes. Seeing Zhao Zushi leave, Li Hao took the blood vitality medicinal wine back to the medical room and put it away. Afterwards, he did not stop in the living room, went straight to his bedroom, washed and slept. Chapter 47. Manufactureth low-level gene chips. The next day, early in the morning. Wake up. Li Hao felt that his bruise seemed much better. It doesn't hurt as much as yesterday. As for the exhaustion caused by yesterday's rushing and toiling, it was even more swept away. It seems that the previous fitness exercises still have an effect. Li Hao smiled lightly. You know, he didn't have this resilience before. Every time you work for one day, you will almost certainly feel sore the next day. However, this time, except for the pain in the bruise, he did not feel the slightest discomfort in other places. This is clearly a benefit of being physically strong. Getting up from bed, Li Hao yawned and opened the system's task log as usual. Doomsday Survival, Long-Term Mission, today's mission reward settlement completed. Survival Performance. You complete the daily maintenance of the underground shelter with plus 50 points. You got the news of 3 vegetable seeds that you don't have yet, and today's the day you agreed to trade with netizens, and you went out to Yongsan County with your clone subordinates for plus 100 points. When you come to the agreed trading place, you find that something is wrong. The shelter where the netizens who agreed to trade are invaded, and everyone is spared, and the points are plus 100. Unwilling to do nothing, use the tactical tracking skills of Clone No. 1 to chase down those invaders with plus 100 points. Through a series of tracking methods, you successfully killed a gang of thugs who burned and looted, successfully recovered the vegetable seeds you needed, and obtained quite a few extra living materials, plus 1000 points. You successfully brought the vegetable seeds back to the sanctuary. The system task is completed, and you get the biogene editing table, giving the sanctuary the ability to make bioengineered creations and genetic technology products, plus 2000 points. You eat 3 meals a day, steadily consume energy, and maintain a balanced body nutrition. Plus 20 points to go into a deep sleep, refreshed, and the physical energy consumed yesterday is fully restored. Plus 30 points. Congratulations to the host for earning 3,500 points. 3,500 points. Seeing this number, Li Hao had a smile on his face. Taking a closer look at the settlement panel, he found that he obtained a biological gene editing table, which gave the shelter the ability to manufacture bioengineering creations and genetic technology products, which allowed him to earn a lot of points. Combined with some other survival performances, this leads to the number of 3,500. Coupled with the points accumulated before, it is more than enough to buy low-level gene chip drawings. After a hasty wash, Li Hao walked with excitement towards the biological laboratory where the clone manufacturing capsule was placed. Step into a biology lab. After Li Hao found a spot, he opened the system inventory and took the biogene editing table out of it. Next second, a rectangular black machine 4 meters long and 3 meters high appeared in front of Li Hao's eyes. It looks like an extremely sophisticated assembly line manufacturing table, with several advanced silver-white robotic arms on the left and a transparent glass jar like a large petri dish on the right, filled with blue liquid. The whole looks full of a sense of tall technology. Biological gene editing desk owner. Li Hao currently has bioengineering drawings, non-function, gene analysis, gene replication, gene editing, gene synthesis, introduction. a certain biotechnology creation, containing quite efficient biological gene editing technology, can freely synthesize and edit all kinds of biological genes, only need to provide bioengineering drawings, can directly manufacture and synthesize most of the bioengineering creations and gene technology products. It's time to buy low-level gene chip drawings. Li Hao connected the power cord that came with the biogene editing station to the shelter's power supply network. Subsequently, open the system mall and buy the low-level gene chip drawings. Points, 10,000. Buying this drawing technology, Li Hao suddenly only has 2,600 points. Taking the low-level gene chip drawings out of the system inventory, Li Hao discovers that in addition to various technical drawings, there is also a tube of things that resemble biological flesh and blood. After reading the manual, Li Hao also knew the role of this tube of flesh and blood. This is a specially cultured genetically engineered creation, and it is also the initial raw material for the manufacture of low-level gene chips. After figuring out how to use it, Li Hao opened the transparent glass jar resembling a large petri dish on the right side of the biological gene editing table and put this tube of flesh and blood into it. Then, all these technical data are put into the drawing scanning device on the left. Start the biogene editing station. About a minute later, Li Hao noticed a chip-like logo on the display of the biogene editing station. Click and it is precisely the manufacturing option for low-level gene chips. Without hesitation, Li Hao directly chose to manufacture 3 copies. Airplanes. The green light of the biogene editing table lights up to indicate that manufacturing has begun and is working. 2 minutes later, the exit of the biogene editing table automatically pops open. 3 white chips the size of a child's fingernail appeared. Of course, it is not so much a chip as a slightly strange piece of meat. However, if you take a closer look at it with a magnifying glass, you will find that the surface of this piece of meat is covered with various sophisticated biological circuits. Li Hao put away all 3 low-level gene chips and put them in a box. Walking out of the biology laboratory, Li Hao walked towards the room of Zhazuki's 3 sisters. Last night, he deliberately used some sleep aid gas to make the 3 sisters of Zhazuki sleep deeper. Under the action of these sleep aids, even a tiger will sleep darkly and have no perception of the outside world. Therefore, they have not yet got up and are still asleep. Of course, these sleep aids are harmless to the human body and are often used in the medical field to help people with insomnia get high-quality sleep. Enter the bedroom of Zhazuki's 3 sisters. Now, the 3 sisters of Zhazuki hugged each other and slept peacefully. A big smile on his face. As if dreaming something. The whole picture looks very beautiful. Calculate the time. The effect of sleep aid gas is about to pass. Coming back to his senses from the scene in front of him, Li Hao shook his head and quickened his movements. The 3 low-level gene chips were taken out of the box and placed on the white foreheads of the 3 sisters of Zhazuki. I saw that these 3 low-level gene chips emitted green light, and they began to dissolve in vain, integrating into the heads of Zhazuki's 3 sisters. This is a special way of implanting low-level gene chips. To be precise, it is the characteristic of the raw material for making low-grade gene chips one-time dissolution recombination. After a special biotechnological treatment, the chip dissolves into particles that drill into the inside of the target skull for reorganization. It's just a one-off. After integration, this characteristic will disappear completely, which means that the chip cannot come out on its own in the same way. This process will not cause any harm to the living body. It's done. Glancing at the 3 sisters Zhazuki, who were still asleep, Li Hao cleaned up all traces and walked out of the room. Chapter 48 Expand food output and build new agricultural plantations. Installing low-level gene chips, Zhazuki's 3 sisters are not outsiders. Walking down the corridor of the shelter, Li Hao hid a smile on his face. As long as the 3 sisters of Zhazuki did not appear to harm his thoughts, this low-level gene chip would not have any harmful effect. After all, he just wanted an insurance against accidents. Knowing that the 3 sisters of Zhazuki would not be able to get up for a while, Li Hao decided to get a few baskets of zhulongbao for breakfast. Get fillings, wrapped zhulongbao, steamed buns. After this series of processes, half an hour passed. When the zhulongbao is cooked, Li Hao takes the zhulongbao to the dining table outside, pours a stack of vinegar, and prepares to eat. Only then did the 3 sisters Zhazuki get up. Brother Hao, I'm sorry, we got up late. I don't know how it was yesterday, I slept too deeply. Seeing that Li Hao had already made breakfast, Zhazuki was also a little embarrassed. Usually, the 3 of them are responsible for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Unexpectedly, I suddenly woke up late today. It's okay. I made a few more cages of zhulongbao and ate them together. Knowing the inside story, Li Hao naturally does not care. After all, he was the culprit that caused Zhazuki's 3 sisters to get up late. Finish breakfast together. The 3 sisters Zhazuki were about to take these steamers to wash. Right now. Wait a minute, I have something I want to ask your opinion. Li Hao suddenly spoke. Huh. The 3 sisters of Zhazuki were also a little surprised on their faces. They couldn't think of anything about Li Hao for a while, and they needed to ask them for advice. It's about the vegetable planting room. I want to open another planting room. This planting room will be equipped with automatic irrigation devices and other automated agricultural equipment. How to do it, how big to make, I want to refer to your opinion. After all, you're professional. As if seeing the doubts of the three sisters of Shazuki, Li Hao explained. In the past few days, he needs to recuperate well and wait for the bruises on his body to disappear, but the development of the shelter cannot be suspended. Hundreds of vegetable seeds have not yet been planted. Board. He was ready to strengthen the food output of the shelter again. Only by producing more food can he afford more clone warriors and make the force to defend the sanctuary stronger. So to do this, there are obviously only two options. One is to expand the original vegetable planting room, and the other is to open a completely new vegetable growing room. After some thought, Li Hao decided to build another one. The rice and wheat in the original vegetable planting room are about to ripen. Now the construction and expansion may affect the grain harvest, and the expansion process will be very troublesome. Building a new vegetable plantation does not have these problems. How to choose is naturally clear. Of course, he decided that the new vegetable growing room was not a copy of the original vegetable growing room. It wants to be more advanced. Try to automate farming. In his vision, the new vegetable growing room is more of an automated agricultural plantation than a growing room. Growers only need to maintain this automated farming system. It greatly saves the workload and increases the planting output. Originally, the grower's workload could only make 1 acre of land in an hour, so with an automated farming system, the 1-hour workload could make 10 acres of land. This is equivalent to a 10-fold increase in food production in the same amount of time. With this farming system, how many agricultural plantations can you take care of? After explaining, Li Hao asked. This set of automated farming system, he just saw in the system mall. The drawing only needs 2,000 points. The points in his hands now are more than enough to buy. After listening to Li Hao's description, involving our own major, Shazuki immediately entered the work mode. She is the big sister of the three sisters and the most proficient in agriculture. After some calculation and analysis, she asked Li Hao about the parameters of his automated farming system, and she finally nodded and gave the answer. If we can really come up with such an automated farming system, even if the area of the new agricultural plantation does not exceed 10,000 square meters, we can take care of it. If you upgrade the old agricultural plantation and get an automated farming system like this, there will be more. That's good. In this case, the area of the newly opened plantation is tentatively set at 8,000 square meters. Li Hao nodded in satisfaction. Then, he strode out of the living room. Looking at Li Hao's departing back, Zhao Zushi, who had not spoken just now, was a little stunned. Little sister, don't look at him stupidly. He has already gone far away, and he dares to say it if he likes it. Seeing this, Zhao Zuo patted Zhao Zushi's head and teased. It's just that for some reason, seeing Zhao Zushi's appearance just now, her heart was a little sad. It was as if something he loved had been robbed, not sure what is going on behind. Li Hao walked out of the living room and into the underground garage, ready to pick the site for the new agricultural plantation. He intends to put this soon too, the opened agricultural plantation next to the chicken and duck farm. Use chicken and duck poop as fertilizer for crops. This not only saves the time spent on processing chicken and duck poop, but also allows crops to produce an extra batch of highly nutritious fertilizer. Kill two birds with one stone. After some consideration, Li Hao decided to open an agricultural plantation along the chicken and duck farm to the south. That is, open it during the southern iron wall of the chicken and duck breeding plant and continue to open outward. This way, chicken and duck farms and newly opened agricultural plantations can be located next to each other. It is also much easier to deal with chicken and duck poop. And most importantly, in this direction, there will be no digging to the main body of the shelter. After deciding on a site, Li Hao decided to dry up. Of course, he has injuries on his body and cannot exercise at high intensity for the time being. And with the two construction tools of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus and the small automatic excavator, he does not need to do it himself. You only need to operate these two machines. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelas. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49 Completion of Agricultural Plantations. Walking to the mechanical storage room, Li Hao took out all the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopuses and small automatic excavators stored inside. Starting the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus, Li Hao entered all the parameters and requirements of his own construction. Click to deduce construction drawings. In less than 30 seconds, a drawing construction for an 8,000 square meter agricultural automated plantation came out. After taking a look, Li Hao revised several more requirements, so that the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus deduced again, and the final construction drawings took shape. Knowing Li Hao opened a door directly on the southern outer wall of the chicken and duck farm. Subsequently, a small automated excavator is activated to excavate the soil layer behind. This time, 8,000 square meters needed to be excavated. Even if the small automatic excavator is the black technology of the future, the excavation efficiency is extremely fast. You can't dig it for a while. While the small automated excavator was working, Li Hao was not idle. Let the clone warriors act as movers, moving cement and steel stored in underground shelters and serving as raw materials for underground load-bearing columns. Subsequently, the working mode of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus is turned on. With the work indicator light on, the 16 mechanical tentacles of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus started in unison, processing cement, steel bars and other raw materials into building materials. Several underground load-bearing columns were constructed simultaneously. For a time, the construction site was busy. All the work for the construction of agricultural plantations was contracted by these two machines. In this process, Li Hao only needs to stand aside to prevent possible accidents during the construction process, and adjust the work project of the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus. After all, the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus has no real intelligence. Although the skills related to construction are full, the resilience is not as good as that of humans. Various accidents that may occur during the construction process cannot be dealt with in a timely manner. 11 hours later, an underground space of 8,000 square meters took shape. The outermost perimeter is also like a shelter, wrapped in a cold layer made of memory alloy walls and cold alloy. Guaranteed protection from harsh climates. However, this underground space has just been opened, and there are only about 50 load-bearing columns inside. The construction of the agricultural plantation is still a long way off. It is just a prototype. Compared to the chicken and duck farm, which was completed in half a day, the construction of this agricultural plantation is obviously much slower. After all, the area is 8 times larger than the chicken and duck farm, and the workload naturally increases a lot. One day is obviously not good to build. Let's continue tomorrow. There is no hurry for these days or two. Knowing this, Li Hao does not mean to work all night. There is currently no shortage of food in the shelters, and it makes no difference at all how it makes a difference in the morning or two that a new agricultural plantation will be built in a day or two. Construction was suspended, and Li Hao walked out of the construction site and returned to the shelter for a late night snack. After eating supper, I played a game with Shazuki and the three of them to relax for a while. By 10 o'clock at night, Li Hao returned to his bedroom on time to wash up and go to bed. At the end of the day, life was very fulfilling. January 20, 2021. After breakfast, Li Hao rested for a while and continued to improve the newly opened agricultural plantation. According to the construction drawings deduced by the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus, Li Hao began to install and lay electrical and water pipes to divide the planting area. After doing all this, the agricultural plantation was gradually improved. Now everything is ready. Only the automated farming system is over. As soon as the automated farming system is installed in the plantation, the agricultural plantation is completely completed. Didn't he say it? Li Hao immediately spent 2,000 points to buy the drawings of the automated farming system that he had previously eyed. Drawings of this automated farming system were entered into the drawing library of the Super 3D printer bed. Initiate. Click manufacturing automated farming system parts. Soon, standard parts came off the machine. However, an automated farming system for an 8,000 square meter agricultural plantation requires too many components. Obviously, it will not be finished printing for a while. Print while installing. Fully automatic multifunctional mechanical construction octopus. Although the construction skills are full, it obviously does not know anything about parts assembly. It also does not have the relevant information program in its chip. Therefore, the task of assembling automated farming systems can only be achieved manually. At the end of the day, even with the help of Shazuki's three sisters, Li Hao only completed the erection of 3,000 square meters of automated agricultural farming system. There is still 5,000 square meters of area that has not been completed. January 21, 2021. Li Hao got up and started the unfinished work of yesterday. Today, however, only about 2,500 square meters of automated farming systems have been set up. Because there was no steel in the shelter halfway. Without raw materials, it is naturally impossible for Super 3D printer beds to create things out of thin air and print parts of automated agricultural farming systems. To solve this problem, Li Hao takes a few clone warriors and drives a nuclear battery heavy-duty truck to the ground to collect the discarded car. Bring back dozens of tons of abandoned cars. An automated metal furnace is used to melt it into memory alloy steel plates. The super 3D printer bed is just getting back in motion. January 22, 2021. After waking up early for most of the day, Li Hao finally completed the combination of all the automated farming systems. After starting the automated farming system and confirming that it is working properly, the newly opened agricultural plantation is officially completed. Li Hao puts the vegetable seeds to be planted in the genetically modified quick-ripening rice seeds into the sowing trough. Click seeding. Soon, the farming system completed a series of seeding tasks on its own, planting seeds on the 8,000 square meters of land. The whole process takes less than 30 minutes. Extremely fast efficiency. You get what you pay for, and this automated farming system bought by 2,000 points is really very useful. After the grain in the original vegetable planting room is harvested, such a farming system is also installed, and the yield will definitely increase a lot again. Chapter 50. The first batch of rice and wheat are ripe. January 23, 2021. Today, the temperature outside has begun to drop again. The newly opened agricultural plantation was completed, and there was nothing else to do for a while. The three sisters Shaozuki are busy familiarizing themselves with the automated farming system of the agricultural plantation and taking care of the crops in the vegetable plantation room. Bored, Li Hao, who was still recovering from his injuries, had to open the GTA 5 on the computer again and played. January 24, 2021. Today is the day of a good harvest in the vegetable planting room. Nearly 2,000 square meters of rice and wheat are all ripe. It's time to harvest. Driving the harvester, Li Hao and Shaozuki spent 2 hours harvesting all the ripe rice and wheat. The golden ears of wheat and rice are divided into 2 large piles, giving a sense of satisfaction of a good harvest. Of course, these wheat and rice have not been processed by the subsequent process and cannot be eaten directly. Generally speaking, the raw grain of rice and wheat needs to go through a series of processes such as cleaning, specific gravity destoning, rice milling, polishing, color sorting before the end of the day to become a common packaged rice on the market before the end of the world. However, if this path is handled manually, it is extremely troublesome. Therefore, Li Hao directly bought a drawing of an automated grain processor with 500 points. It was printed and manufactured with a super 3D printer bed. With this automated grain processor, rice and wheat processing is extremely simple. Just throw the ears of wheat and rice directly onto the conveyor belt of the automated grain processor. This automated grain processor can process a ton of grain in half an hour. The output of 2,000 square meters of rice and wheat is about 2.5 tons. In just over an hour, the automated grain processor processed all the ears of wheat and rice. It is also automatically encapsulated to make it easier to save. A total of 256 tons of wheat and rice were placed in the food pantry. As a result, the entire food pantry was filled. There are even hundreds of pounds of rice that have no place to place, so they can only be put in the tool warehouse curry for the time being. The precious grain in the eyes of others is too much to put here in Li Hao. If you let other people who often have a full stomach know, I don't know how they will feel. Realizing the smallness of the food pantry, Li Hao immediately decided to build another food pantry. After all, this is only the output of the vegetable planting room. The newly opened agricultural plantation was 4 times larger than the vegetable plantation. The future will definitely produce much more food than vegetable growing rooms. If it is not expanded, the food produced in the future may fill the corridors of the shelter. Therefore, a new grain pantry is imperative. January 25, 2021. Li Hao decided to build a new large granary of more than 1,000 square meters on the western wall of the vegetable plantation room, dedicated to storing grain produced by the 2 plantations. The original food storage room was used to store canned meat, drinks, snacks. After making the design drawings, Li Hao directly used the fully automatic multifunctional mechanical building octopus and the small automatic excavator to dry it. Building a 1,000 square meter granary is much less work than building an 8,000 square meter agricultural plantation. In just half a day, the granary was completely completed. Li Hao then moved all the rice and wheat harvested to this granary for storage. January 26, 2021. Waking up early this morning, Li Hao found that the bruises on his body had finally disappeared. The grain in the vegetable growing room was also harvested. Li Hao decided to upgrade the vegetable growing room as originally planned and install an automated farming system, taking out the mechanical parts storage warehouse, the parts of the automated farming system that had been prepared for a long time. Li Hao assembled them with Shaozuki's 3 daughters. It took more than half a day to successfully complete the upgrade for the vegetable planting room. January 27, 2021. The outside temperature continued to drop, and the heavy snow returned, accumulating several meters of snow on the ground. The entire gate of the shelter was to be buried by snowflakes. Just cleaning up these snowflakes took Li Hao most of his day. In order to prevent snowflakes from piling up again at the entrance of the shelter, Li Hao built a simple small house to cover the gate of the shelter. At night, in the shelter that is still warm as spring, Li Hao and Shazuki's 3 dog ears are having dinner. Kung Pao chicken, beef stew with potatoes, braised pork, sour and spicy shredded potatoes, tomato tofu soup, 4 meats, 4 vegetarians in 1 soup. The dishes on the table are extremely rich. As a half foodie, if possible, Li Hao naturally not treat his stomach badly. Although these dishes are quite troublesome and extravagant in peacetime, they are often on Li Hao's table. If other people who only eat earthworms to supplement protein on Li Hao's luxury style, I am afraid that they must envy the separation of the plasma wall. Finish this dinner that seems extremely luxurious in a doomsday setting. Shaozu got up and prepared to wash the dishes. These dishes and chopsticks were washed by the 3 sisters and turned out walking towards the sink in the kitchen. Shaozu's eyes unconsciously glanced at Li Hao and Shazushi, who were sitting together in a living room, and at the same time he was surprised and inexplicably a little sad and envious. Recently, Shimei and Brother Hao's progress has also been too fast. It suddenly became so intimate. Shaking his head, Shaozu shook off the inexplicable thoughts in his mind and walked into the kitchen. Putting aside the inexplicable emotions in his heart, Brother Hao is indeed a good destination. Shimei is a good home, she should be happy. Li Hao, who didn't know the distraction thoughts in Shaozu's heart, was watching the movie video of Shazushi, and after watching this movie, he suddenly got up and said to Shazushi, "Zushi, you will go to sleep first, you don't have to eat to make me a late night snack. I'm going out now." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.